Yo, let me tell you about the lore.
Alright, hello and welcome back to the season finale of Super Lore Boys. During the course of the season, we've traveled to Japan, US, Mexico, France, Canada, Spain, and now we're bringing it back to the US capital of Super Turbo, SoCal, California. I'm your host, Rizwan, aka the GOAT of CE. And joining us today, we have a man who needs no introduction, but we'll give him one anyway. Everyone welcome ElTrouble, aka Eugene, aka El Presidente, aka husband to Miller Time. What's up? How's it going?
What's going on, guys? Heck of an intro. I'm happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me on here. I'm super hyped to be interviewed and to be the season closer for season 1.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of history ingrained to this game, and a comment that I make a lot when I talk about you or even talk about Super Turbo is you can't talk about ST without mentioning ElTrouble's name in there, just off of like where you've gone and how many people you've met, and I think like the impact that you had on the scene. So it was only right to have you here at this point, even if you're a dirty Dawson player. Like, it's all good. It's all good. I still love you anyway.
Oh, that's nice. I'm happy.
But before we get to the salt, let's take a look at your player card. So you've been playing for 8 years, which I think, like, in the scope of SC is not really a long time at all, right?
Yeah, I consider myself like new school, even though 8 years might sound like a lot to be in the scene. Like, it's nothing compared to guys like yourself, Damn Die, Afro Legends, Vi, guys who put the serious work in. So yeah, I consider myself relatively new school.
But I think most people consider you like one of the vets, and you can make the argument because it's more about like the experience that you get based on how many tournaments you've entered or how frequent what your flyer miles are looking like, that kind of thing. So yeah, it depends on what the criteria is for being vetted, but yeah, that's just a number. I think so. Yeah, you're a vet, I think, as far as everyone's concerned.
I mean, I wouldn't call myself a vet. Yeah, like it's weird because I didn't feel like I had been in the scene for a long time until I started to meet like new fans of Super Turbo, new players or whatever, and then we would just talk shop about Super Turbo, and then I would just kind of casually mention DGV, and they would have no idea who I'm talking about. Which to me is like ludicrous, because for me, I like DGV is like a household name in Super Turbo. So to meet new guys who like didn't know who he was, I'm like, man, I've been in the scene a while. If the new up and comers don't know who DGV is. So.
Yeah, if you guys don't know who DGV is, you'll have to wait till season 3. No, I'm just kidding. But
ooh,
no, I still gotta reach out to him, but the list is long anyhow. But yeah, you're representing the SoCal scene, which is pretty much like, I guess, the mecca of US Street Fighter, specifically California, but I think SoCal, if I'm correct. I mean, is that true, or was it NorCal? I think San Francisco was, the home of Capcom, but I just feel like maybe SoCal was where the top players were.
I think historically a lot of the top players came from SoCal, right? So like, if you're talking about kind of early legends of FGC history, you were talking about guys like Tomo Ohira, Mike Watson, Alex Valle. So yeah, they kind of started the whole, I don't know, let's call it the groundwork for SoCal having a reputation for having some of the best players. But that's not to say that other regions definitely didn't have their own share of killers, right? Like NorCal had like guys like Thomas Osaki, John Choi, obviously, on the come up. And I'm sure New York has their own history as well. But yeah, I think SoCal, for whatever reason, I just sort of become the center of a lot of FGC lore and history. I think mostly stemming from the fact that like the B series started here, which is kind of the precursor to Evo. So I kind of set the tone for I don't know, FGC history in SoCal. So yeah, I think that's how SoCal sort of cemented their reputation. But I know other regions would say otherwise, that they were the strongest players at the time, of course, had to throw that in there before Bernie gets on my ass for, praising SoCal too much. New York guys, I'm sure, aren't too happy, but you guys can share your own lore on your own episodes.
Were you following the scene way back when? Because you already mentioned a couple names like Mike Watson, Tomo. Like, how far back did you go with following the scene before you entered competing?
So, like, not counting growing up in the 90s playing Street Fighter 2, that's what we talk about. We can talk about that later. Basically, I got back into the scene with Street Fighter 4 because, you know, at the time I wasn't really playing fighting games all too much. Definitely not at a competitive level. But, like, when news of Street Fighter 4 was coming out and they had that trailer with that beautiful, like, water kind of brushstroke style, like, it looked really cool and it brought back, like, a lot of feelings of, like, nostalgia with me. Because I hadn't really thought about Street Fighter in a long time, and all of a sudden this new game came out and it seems pretty hype, and so that's when I started like going on the SRK forums and all that kind of stuff. So I'd say I was lurking in the scene around 2008 or so, 2008, 2009, and so I kind of got into Street Fighter 4 through that for a little bit, and then actually this is funny, I somehow discovered the Don't Blow This crew. I don't know how. But like, I think I caught like a DSP video online about like a bunch of you guys just sort of playing casuals or whatever, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool that people still play Street Fighter 2. And then you guys had like a website. I remember, like I went to don'tblowthis.com or whatever, and it had like a profile page, and it showed like Damn Die, showed Riz, Technical Monkey, all those guys. So it's kind of funny that like I kind of knew about you guys long before I met you. But yeah, that's sort of how I got into the scene. And then from there, I went to my first, I think, Street Fighter 4 SBO qualifier. It happened to be like in my neighborhood at the time for SoCal, so I went there. And then, yeah, I can go into that deeper if you want, or if you want to go on to a different topic.
I mean, I think we'll definitely get into that. I did want to give a shout out to John Rambo and the DBT crew. He was actually the one who I felt like really handled all of those operations. Like he had a camera. The first time I went to Howard's to play with them, like he brought a green screen. I'm like, what the hell is this? So he took our pictures with the green screen and then like attached a background to it. So mine, I think, had like, you know, the Shadowloo skull. Tecmo's had like Gal's background. Then yeah, like you mentioned, there was a forum. So we were all members. We used to chat. You know, he made videos. Yeah, it was a lot, but damn, I had no idea that that it was because of that. You're like, oh crap, like people actually still play SC. That just goes to show that even if you have a small crew and you guys are doing this for fun, like John was doing that, it was just a hobby. He's like, oh look, I have a new camera or I have this green screen, because he was into like multimedia stuff and trying to like create content, you know, just like DSP, they're content creators, so they were just doing it out of fun. But you know, it piqued the interest of people who did so much more, you know, in the following years like you. So that's pretty dope. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, no, if there's one thing I learned throughout the years of, you know, being involved with the Super Turbo community and the FGC at large, it's that like you never know like the things that you do, how they'll affect other people kind of down the line. You know what I'm saying? Like this was not planned for me to like play Super Turbo, run tournaments, all that kind of stuff, do tutorials. It just sort of happened, and I kind of did it on a whim. But then like years later down the road, you kind of meet people that like tell you like what a big influence it was, or you know, it was really cool having those tutorials. It helped me out a lot. And like it's just weird seeing how like the small things you do online that like don't really mean much, it kind of ripples out and affects people in a way that you can never predict or anticipate. That's really cool. But yeah, that's pretty
sick. I mean, because otherwise, had it not been for Don't Blow This crew, maybe you would have been like a Counter-Strike like super pro by now, right? I mean, because that's what you do.
Exactly.
What's Counter-Strike Global Offensive? Because that doesn't sound like how Dalson plays, so I need to know.
So, well, I'll talk about that a little later, how it connects. So basically, when I was a young kid, you know, a young lad growing up, I played a lot of video games, much like everyone else. But they were mostly like single-player games, like console games or like old-school PC games I used to play, like King's Quest and Police Quest and stuff like that. They used to come on floppy disks when they were actually floppy.
3.5. 3.5. Remember those guys?
No, we're talking about like 5.5,
Oh, shit.
5.5. The floppy boys. Yeah, you got like lock it in with the little
Yeah, I remember
switch. Yeah, man. Yeah. But anyways, I can talk about that later on. But when I was like, I'd say 12 or 13, like I kind of met up with these guys who were older, who were like in their like, it was like 18, 19, 20, early 20s, and they were really into like PC building. And so I don't know, like through like kind of hanging out with them, like I really wanted to figure out how to like build PCs. That sounded really cool, really interesting. At the same time, they also played games like Quake 3 and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of got into that, playing multiplayer games with them, because that was like my first time experiencing multiplayer gaming, which is like incredible. But yeah, that's how I sort of fell into FPS games, and through that, like I played Half-Life 1, which is like one of my favorite games of all time. And through that, there was a mod called Counter-Strike that they made off of Half-Life, and then they made Counter-Strike Source, and then Counter-Strike Global Offensive. So yeah, I have besides Super Turbo and the FGC, I probably have a longer history dealing with the Counter-Strike crew and all that kind of stuff. Not that I played like professionally or in tournaments, but I definitely dedicated a significant portion of my teenage years playing Counter-Strike in various arenas.
Oh, damn.
So yeah, I really love Counter-Strike. It's a dope game. I love it to death. For a lot of the same reasons that I like Super Turbo. Like it's a simple game but hard to master kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember my friends tried to get me into Counter-Strike. I never had a good PC as a kid, so I couldn't do PC gaming. The best I was able to do in a first-person shooter was GoldenEye, which I think I'm like, I don't know, if they ever ran a tournament for it, I think I would do really well, because like my brothers and I, we knew like certain parts of the stages where your pixels are stupid and you could like shoot through the platforms, and so yeah, we used to play that a lot. But I wish I could get into Counter-Strike. I think Counter-Strike Source was the one that was probably the easiest to get into, and then I remember they did like a GoldenEye Source as well, so they recreated all the stages but with that kind of like those graphics, if I'm not mistaken. Do you remember that?
Yeah, there was a bunch of mods that people created for. I mean, like the Counter-Strike scene in general is based on modding Half-Life, so like yeah, mods are kind of interconnected with that. But yeah, there was a whole bunch of crazy mods, like zombie mods and Warcraft 3 mods. GoldenEye was fun. Yeah, I have a lot of fond memories, having friends come over and play 4-player GoldenEye as well.
Yeah,
that game's amazing. Like, it's pretty janky now in hindsight. Like, I don't think it's aged particularly well, but like, that was really the start of like playing your friends on a couch 4-player, FPS games.
Well, that entire era was the start of multiplayer gaming, because that was the first console, unless you had like a multi-tap on the SNES where you play like a 4-player game. So we had like Super Smash Brothers, there was GoldenEye, there was Mario Kart 64, Wave Race, I think, and a bunch of those games. So yeah, definitely that was a good time to get into multiplayer, and probably the same for me as how things got competitive as well. Anyway, we're going off on a tangent, but that's a pretty interesting fact about you. I'm pretty sure there are other diehard SC players that also like Counter-Strike, and now you connected with them in another way. Blood type, you're pretty sure the letter A is involved, so okay. A positive, A negative, like one of those things?
I have no idea. Like, I can never remember my blood type.
Sure how much.
I know there's an A. I don't know if there's a B with it, but there's an A in the mix.
All right, yeah, we'll take that. And then going with your likes, so you like motorcycles, cars, video games, movies, any in particular you just want to shout out for any of those categories?
Nothing that really comes to mind. I mean, I've always been into like machines and stuff like that. I spent a good chunk of my life like working on cars. I was a mechanic at one point for a couple of years. I don't know. I just like toys that go fast. I don't know what to tell you. I like machines. Not much to say about that.
Nanotechnology, ElTrouble Industries. I don't know. And food. You mentioned food as well. That's one of the likes. Yeah, I think everything that you like is very generic.
Yeah, it is. Like, I honestly don't have that interesting of a personality, in my opinion.
I feel like I'm trying to build a character. Like, you know those games where you're trying to like build a character?
Yeah, like personality. I was like, oh, I'm funny. I was like, well, yeah, very generic traits. But I don't know. I like food. What can I say? Like, I like besides eating like nice food or whatever. Like, I like the idea that like food is like a universal experience that like everyone shares as part of the human race. You know, it's besides being like a very practical source of, you know, living. It's like a cool way to like also show love. I think cooking as a skill is very important to learn. You learn a lot about life and yourself through cooking.
Oh, yeah.
I like how like food can bring people together, like family and friends, and you share like love and camaraderie. I don't know, like food's cool. I don't say that.
Yeah, you know what? This is the exact reason why I like these. I guess the icebreakers with player card, because there's always something that's small that tells a lot about the person. And I think the way that you just described food is like how you express, you know, your passion for the game, which is you like how ST can bring people together. You know, universally, it's something that all of us like and enjoy. Maybe not all the people on the planet,
sure.
but like, you know, for all the people that play ST, it's, you know, it's like food for us. It's you know, we play it for sustenance or for our, you know, mental nutrition. I don't know what to call it, but
yeah, it's like chicken soup for the soul. You know, it's those old books. Yeah, Super Turbo has been like a really weird way to like socialize and meet other people and travel. That wasn't part of the plan. I used to just play video games because I'm not great with people and I like video games. But like it's become like a weird way to like open the world up to me in a very strange, unpredictable way, where like through playing this 25 plus year old game, I've gotten the ability to like meet guys like you, meet guys in Texas, meet people from all over the FGC, all over the world, you know, Europe, Japan, Taiwan. Yeah, it's been a cool, strange, crazy ride, but it's been awesome.
Yeah, I feel like people who that are not in the gaming world and kind of like their perception of us just might be like, oh yeah, they just like sit around and play games all day, but they don't realize we actually try to do real life things and, you know, act as, you know, citizens, or, you know, we're actually trying to like, how can I say it, like build something. So hopefully like these podcasts will open up more people's eyes, not just like in fighting game community, but other people who are interested in like what we're actually doing when we travel, or what we're actually thinking about, and, you know, how we take this game to like the real world. You know, otherwise, you know, we'll just dislike them like shitty people, and, you know, we'll not go on BuzzFeed to read those food tier lists because that's not what it's about. It's about bringing people together with the food, not ranking food and separating people. That's not what we want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Like I hate those BuzzFeed articles or like Instagram influencers who like post like really nice high-end food. And I post food pics too, but like it's really not, I don't know, my main purpose for doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, back to like Super Turbo and video games. Like it's been that old stereotype, right? That like people that play video games are kind of dumb. They're just rotting their brains. They're smashing. They're going to become violent because they play Mortal Kombat. You know, that old.
Yeah, I remember that.
The throwback.
I remember
from the 90s,
that on the news when I was a kid, for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of kept on. So it's hard to explain to people like what video games mean beyond just us sitting there playing a video game, wasting time, quote unquote, right? So I don't know. It's always a never-ending struggle with that. I have that issue with like families and friends and stuff like that. It's hard to convey like the deeper meaning behind why we play these games, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think, you know, despite like everyone's a character, right? And in the ST scene, I feel like pretty much everyone I've met, they're all good people. Like they don't have bad intentions. They like care and they want to hear. They actually want to know like how your day was. It's not just, all right, let's do this 3 out of 5 so I can bounce. Like I feel like I made a lot of great friends just playing the game, and that's not something, you know, you would expect. You expect, you meet someone because you went to school together or whatever, you guys grew up together, and it took 10 years for you to share your first secret with them and, something like that. But SD is it's more, like, everything's more carefree, and, you see someone at a tournament and say, hey, how's the wife and kids? Or how's, this, or how's that? Or, wow, I haven't seen you in a few months. Are you still living in so-and-so? And it's more like we knew each other forever, even if we just met. The death.
Yeah, it reminds me of like when your kids playing on the playground and like you're playing like handball or whatever, and then you meet some other kid who's like really good at handball, and all of a sudden you guys like just connect and just hang out all the time. Yeah. That's kind of like what I feel like Super Turbo does. Like, you'll have two strangers who've like never met, never interacted, but they'll sit down and play a game, and then after like a few minutes, all of a sudden you're like a lot more open, you're a lot more social, right? It's like a weird phenomenon I don't fully understand, but it definitely exists in gaming, and then Super Turbo in general. Like you mentioned, like there's not like that many bad characters in Super Turbo, which is very like unique, because I know like other fighting game scenes have their own like issues and all that kind of stuff, but like no one ever has anything bad to say about Super Turbo, which is like a big reason why like whenever I run events or whatever and I have new players come in, I always try to be like super welcoming. I always try to like show them cool things you can do with the game. I try to help them out. They have questions. I like talk to them. And I've had people who've like responded really positively to that. And they always like tell me like, hey, the reason I got into Super Turbo was because like you guys seem like a bunch of cool, mature, nice people. I'm like, yeah, we are basically. It's just about like, showcasing that to the rest of the FGC or the community at large. So yeah.
I think lately, because of streaming too, I've been exposed to that more, where people are like, oh man, like you really got me into it, or like, wow, you guys are all so cool. So I feel like I have to, do a little bit more extra to make sure that anyone who's interested in the game is invited with open arms, because I want everyone to be able to feel that and realize that, our scene is pretty healthy, and we're not going to like deflect anyone. We're here to bring as many people into the fold as possible. I think you put it best on your Twitter. I saw your Twitter, and it's like spreading the gospel, or what was it? What's the words again?
So you are on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm out here, okay? 2020 boys. Let's go.
Yeah. What is it? My tagline is just an ordinary dude trying to preach the good gospel of Super Turbo.
That's like the best summary for who you are. It's so freaking crazy.
But it's true. Like, I feel like I'm a pastor. I'm just like here to like lead my sheep, right, into my flock and just take care of them and nurture them. That's totally what I'm about.
It's so dope.
It's 100%. But no, like you feel that like through your streams, through your podcast, like you feel that kind of vibe you create when like you just put on a stream just to have fun and play games, talk to your friends. But then all of a sudden you get like people coming to Twitch chat, coming into your Discord, and like you're starting to like really build something around your Discord and your streams and your podcasts. And it's really dope. I think it's part of the reason why I tune in so much to your stream, is because it's really cool just tuning in and seeing like what kind of people are in Discord today, what kind of games you're playing, because you always have like a pretty healthy rotation of people coming in, and you always have like a different energy and different conversations with them. I think it makes for like a really interesting stream, even for guys who like don't just play Super Turbo and other games. They still go to your stream if like other games are playing, because they want to like hear what you guys have to say and watch what kind of dope stuff you guys are doing on other games. So yeah,
I appreciate that.
Good stuff,
I appreciate that. I mean, we're just trying to like, in a way, like recreate the arcade scene, because like going to Chinatown Fair, that's kind of how it was. You would play, you'd put in your quarter, you want to get as long as the win streak as you can. When you lose, it's all like, either talking smack or like, hey, why did that work, or why did that thing? So I think mostly when I'm on the mics with Mega Man, that's when I really feel like I'm at next level, like just sitting next to him and we're like clowning on Zoolander or something like. or you beat Damned Eyes, suddenly he's like in a fit, he's in a rage, but yeah, so it feels like the arcade to me. And then there'll be that new guy who gets on and he'll surprise you with the combo, or he did that one really cool play, or like, oh shit, play again. And yeah, that's what's exciting for me when I'm streaming, is like everyone's reaction and just everyone chilling. I just want everyone to chill and like have fun. So yeah, more people that are in the chat, just like hanging out. It feels feels at home for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. It's funny because like I've never been to Chinatown Fair, but like what you're describing is pretty much what I experienced at Super Arcade, and whenever I joined the scene in 2012, like it's hard to convey that like people just don't go to arcades to play games, right? Because we can just play games at home by ourselves, online, whatever. You go to the arcade because you want that environment, you want that vibe, you want that like place where you can go and meet your friends and meet someone new and like have a conversation and play games. You know, like some of the best moments in the FGC have been the times where I'm not playing matches. I was like hanging out with people, talking, watching games, talking shit, all that kind of stuff. That's like the best parts to me, besides the game itself.
Right, because you're creating you're just creating moments, not necessarily moments in the game, but just, you know, the moments where like the friendship was built, or you know, something like that, or you elevated as a player because you just had like this awakening or something. You're like, oh, it all makes sense now. So yeah, so hopefully, you know, we can do more of that. And also appreciate that you've been hopping online a little bit more, which is another topic we got to talk about. Is it was kind of like night and day where you just made the decision to just go ahead and start playing online. We'll get into that. But yeah, cool. I think you know, we got to learn quite a bit about you just through, you know, this introduction. Let's go ahead and get into how you got your name, ElTrouble. I never asked you in all these years.
Okay, I mean, first of all, it's a dumb name. I hate it. I'll just put that out there right now. I've never really liked it, but like, it was literally the first handle I've ever created for myself playing like multiplayer games. Like I said, when I started to get into like PC building and FPS games, like I had to come up with a handle. I never had to do that before, not counting like, you know, having like AOL Instant Messenger or whatever. But I had to come up with something new. So basically, I used to like growing up, I was growing up in a Christian family, and we used to do like all the Christian stuff, you know, go to church, go to, you know, prayer meetings, travel, go on mountain trips, and have like intense sessions of like study and focus and all kind of stuff. Anyways, and like we used to take like buses to all these different locations and whatever. And like me and like one of the older guys who was like taking care of us, we were like playing some like card game. I forgot what it's called. I think it's called like War, where basically like you have like a stack of cards and you like take the top card, you put it down, and whoever has the highest number wins. And they take all the cards. Whoever has all the cards. Yeah. Basically, like, I don't know what happened, but like I got like a really lucky streak of hands that I just kept winning one after another. And then the other guy got so mad, he like started calling me like a troublemaker for whatever reason. I don't know why, but like that became like my nickname with that group. I was like, oh, okay, I'm just Trouble, whatever. Like, it's just what it is. And so when I was coming up with my nickname, I was like, oh, I know, I'll take like that nickname and I'll add EL to it, because those are my initials of my real name. And so it's like ElTrouble. It's like a double triple entendre. Like, it's my initials, it's my nickname. It means the trouble in Spanish. That's so kind of cool, I guess. I'll take those. Yeah, no, as a 12-year-old, you're like, man, I'm so fucking smart, dude. I'm like 300 IQ, making all these like, you know, puns and shit. So yeah, that was basically my first handle. And then when I started joining FGC tournaments, like, okay, I'll figure I'll use ElTrouble. It wasn't my handle during the Counter-Strike Half-Life era, but like, I don't know, it just fit me. So I started using it. And then ever since, like, that's just how everyone knows me. So like, I can't really change my nickname now. I'm not creative enough to come up with a new nickname, so I'll just let it rock. But yeah, that's the origin story of my name. Nothing special. I
actually just connected the dots when you said your friends called you Trouble. Like, I was just looking at the name and I saw the EL. I'm like, oh, like all this time I didn't even realize that the L was your initials. I just thought it was just like, oh yeah, the Trouble. Like, I don't know. It just now hit me. So no, that's decent. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so 12-year-old ElTrouble outplayed you already.
I got mopped. Yo,
the mind games, I got you.
But wait, I know. So where did El Presidente come from?
So that's a stupid nickname that Arcadium gave me. Carl of Arcadium, we used to like run streams together. We did the tutorials together, all that kind of stuff. And so he would just call me El Presidente, because at the time, like, Karopi was like slowly starting to step away. Kuropi, if you don't know, is the original head of Super Turbo Revival. And so like they just started calling me El Presidente, and then Bob started calling me El Presidente, and then like they just kept the joke going, and then now everyone calls me El Presidente, and I hate that nickname, but you know, I got stuck with it. So you could blame Arcadium and Bob Painter for that.
Hey
one.
man, if we could redo the elections, you know, you'd be my pick, El Presidente. Just
oh my god.
Anyway, that's a whole nother can of worms that you know, we could just leave off on the side. So, all right, now we got the origin story. That's how you got your name. I think a lot of maybe you probably never told the story before. I'm assuming, right?
My name? I've done like a few like written interviews, so I probably told them about it, but I don't know if anyone paid attention to those.
All right, cool. And then how did you get into ST? So I think you talked a little bit about like Counter-Strike and stuff like that. So what was your first, you know, experience with ST in the aspect of like, all right, I'm going to learn this game?
Yeah, so skipping the whole childhood arcade story stuff, I basically got into it when I first went to that SBO qualifier for Street Fighter 4. I think it was like a team tournament thing, like a 3-on-3 or whatever. And I just heard it was happening like in my neighborhood round 1 arcade. Which,
round
one is like a like it's for those who don't know, round 1 is like this like mega entertainment complex where like you can have dinner, you can drink, you can play bowling, ping pong, play arcade games, whatever. But anyways, the one local to me is round 1 in Puente Hills, and they had like Street Fighter 4 machines, like legit Vuelich Street Fighter 4 machines, which at the time were like $16,000 each. They were super expensive, so it was kind of rare to find. But anyways, I went there just to watch, like purely as a fan. I brought Tanya just because she was starting to get into fighting games too. So I was like, you know, let's go out, let's have fun, you know, play some arcade games, watch the qualifier, whatever, have a date. Basically, when I got there, I saw they also had like a Super Turbo head-to-head machine. And at that point, I had never touched like a single game of Super Turbo. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Super Turbo, like Street Fighter 2. I used to play this as a kid. Let's give it a shot. And I sat down, and I played Ryu. That's pretty much my traditional character. And then I was doing pretty well. And then I fought like a Chun-Li player. And then he like just completely demolished me. Like, I don't even know how. I don't understand it. Like, it just felt like whatever I was doing, they were ready for, and they would counter it with like neutral jump light kick or like a crouch medium poke, whatever. So I lost like probably like 10 games in a row. And so I was like, man, like I suck at this game, but it's kind of cool that people still play it like at this level. And so I stood up to go like talk to the guy or whatever on the other side. And I go over there and I see there's like this like little Asian girl sitting there, and she kind of like just like waves at me. It's like, hello. I was like, dude, I got bought by a girl. Yo, I can't. No. So I work like, yeah, like, and I'm not like a misogynistic dude, but like my pride got a little hurt. I was like, damn, dude, I lost to a girl. That can't be happening. But it also got me interested in Super Turbo. Anyways, so that girl ended up being Stacy. Time to Impress. I don't know if anyone knows her, but she was a SoCal Chun-Li player who was really good. And then, about 2 months later, word got on the streets on the SRK forums that Mike Watson was taking over Super Arcade. So I thought, okay, I know who Mike Watson is. He's pretty good at like Street Fighter or whatever. Like, it'll probably be like the new spot to go hang out to like play Street Fighter. And so I started going there, and then I think the first Wednesday night fights they held, Muffin Man decided to like run like a $2 Super Turbo tournament, like just like real cheap, you know, just for fun. But yeah, Watson used to have like a big blue, it was a showcase cab, so it was a pretty sweet machine, and so we played. And then just through that, like I got to know Muffin Man. He was really cool, and he was basically the guy who got me into Super Turbo because he was also like very nice, you know, easy to talk to. If I had like questions or whatever, he would always answer them. He's a great all-around guy. But yeah, through that, like somehow like the Super Turbo scene in SoCal started to kind of grow. So we got guys like Paper Cut and Mucus and DGV and all those guys playing every single week at Super Arcade. And so basically that's how I got into it. And I kind of got bit by the bug knowing that we had like so many strong players, and they were all like just super nice, super chill guys, that made me really fired up to play Street Fighter 2. and like get better at Super Turbo. So yeah, it's basically how and why I got into Super Turbo. I don't know if you want me to keep going or just
I had a couple. I definitely have a couple follow-up questions. So at that time where you met Muffin Man and DGV, Mucus, etc., Papercut, did you just go cold turkey on Street Fighter 4, or were you like thinking, all right, let me go ahead and juggle both now because this is fun? Like, how did you deal with that?
For Street Fighter 4, I play super casually, but I play in tournaments just to like kind of have fun. And I think like for the first few weeks, I played both Street Fighter 4 and Super Turbo. And then I don't know, like after a while, like I started to like really fall in love with Street Fighter 2 again. And I think part of it is nostalgia because I did have a background growing up playing Street Fighter 2, but for whatever reason, like just Super Turbo like called to me. Like it was like fate, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just so irresistible to me that like yeah, exactly. Like I found my calling. I seen the light. But yeah, like I very quickly transitioned away from Street Fighter 4 and just started playing Super Turbo, and I was like, this is all I ever want to play. And I think what really caught me was the first time I met Afro Legends at Super Arcade. And then, like, he was just sandbagging and playing his Ryu, which, by the way,
his Ryu's dope. I played it once on Xbox, like, when we were just practicing up for Japan. I'm like, where the hell do you get a Ryu from? He's hella good. Yeah, he's good, dude.
Yeah, no, he has a legit Ryu, like, it's really good. But yeah, like we were just playing, like we must have played like 100 games because I swear I spent like $30-40 just putting in quarters in that machine, losing. But then I realized like at the end of the night I was like down $40. I should be salty, but like I was having the time of my life. Like I was absolutely loving like losing, like which doesn't really make any sense, but like I don't know, like it just felt good playing someone who was that like far ahead of me that like you can kind of see like, oh, like this game could be so much more fun if you were, this good, right? And to me, I feel like if you have fun losing at something, that's probably what you're going to be into, right? Because losing should be something that's like discouraging to you, but like if for some twisted reason it like motivates you, makes you happy, makes you excited to put another quarter in, like I should probably just do that thing. Right?
Well, that's why a lot of the strong players have that emotional edge. It's kind of like what I like to call it, where when you lose, you're like so hungry for the run back, and not so much in a salty way, but like I can do this if I like change this part of my game, or like you said, you just straight up enjoy it because you're getting better, or like it's like you want to figure it out. You want to figure out why you were losing, and I think a lot of the top players have that, which is great.
Yeah, like I often tell Tanya like salt breeds motivation. So I'm like, if you're playing something and like you're kind of bitter about it, but like it doesn't make you like super depressed and sad and angry that you don't want to do it ever again, that's like a good thing. Like you can take those losses and like turn into fuel to like really get motivated and like get better and like get hungry to beat whoever in the tournament. That's pretty much how I grew up in Super Turbo, actually. A lot of salt, a lot of hate, but it also made me better as a player. So I guess there's that. Right.
My other follow-up question was just regarding the like hardware, I guess, that you're using. So when you were doing Street Fighter 4, did you buy an arcade stick, or were you playing on pad?
So before I started going to Super Arcade, I was playing on pad, on a PS3 pad, whatever. But then like a buddy of mine like bought like this like just like junky small arcade stick. I forgot what's even called anymore. It wasn't like solid parts or anything like that. But like I started messing around with that. I was like, wow, it's like pretty fun playing on this thing. Like it reminds me of like when I used to go to arcades and play. And I don't know what started that decision, but like I thought to myself, like I should learn to play on stick because I'm starting to like get really into this. I should like spend money and like buy a stick. And also at the same time, like I was going to Super Arcade, which they have sticks there, obviously, for Super Turbo and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of dedicated myself to like learning to play on stick.
Okay.
Which back then was like Super Arcade had like the American parts that had like a Wiko 360 and have buttons and all that kind of stuff.
Even on ST?
So yeah, really.
Oh wow.
Yeah, on ST. It was started off with American parts. So that's how I learned. That's when my uppercuts were actually pretty good back.
Yeah, because actually that's what I was going to get to. I was wondering if you started out on the competitive level using American stick or Japanese. For me at Chinatown Fair, it was actually American parts. It wasn't until I bought a joystick or like at home, I think I used to play on pad. I would go to the arcade and play on American, and then I bought a Japanese stick. I couldn't do anything like for a long time. Until I was like, all right, I gotta let go of the pad. I just like gotta dedicate myself to, using joystick. So yeah, I was just curious about like your, the resurgence of ST for you, if you were playing on a pad or American or Japanese. But it looks like we pretty much had a similar path in that sense. We were pad, and then we went to American sticks.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, like even as a kid, like I played most of my Street Fighter 2 on like the SNES pad, so I was very comfortable playing on pad from those days. But yeah, Super Arcade, we were all using American sticks for a while until Watson got some more Japanese cabinets. But I remember like buying a stick and telling myself like I have to learn Japanese. That's like becoming the new standard. And like for me, even back then, I realized like if I ever wanted to travel for Street Fighter 4 or Super Turbo or whatever, like there's a good chance I'm going to play it on like a Japanese stick. That's what everyone's using. So like I should like force myself to convert. So I think I probably spent like a good year like learning to play on Japanese sticks, just because my execution was so horrible. It was also new to me. I would like look at videos of like the Daigo grip and like
wine glass grip.
Yeah, exactly. I like tried all those grips, like the 2-finger grip, the 5-finger grip, whatever, underhand, overhand, like had a double tap and all that kind of stuff, had a plink for Street Fighter 4. So yeah, it was a big transitional period, but it was always with the goal in mind of like, oh, if I travel, I have to learn to play on Japanese. So that's why I learned Japanese originally.
Yeah, I think because nowadays a lot of the top players in Street Fighter 5, like a good chunk of them play on pad, and it's actually probably more optimal to play on pad. But for ST, I think you have to play on Japanese stick, and I hate to say it because I know there are great pad players out there, and players that want to use bat top. But something that I remember telling John Rambo like way back when as well was there's a certain magic element to playing ST on an official like Japanese cab with the Japanese board on the right settings of things that you'll be able to accomplish or do in a match or do in the game that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise, because that's how the game is designed to be played. So maybe for anyone who's like trying to get into Street Fighter 2 right now, if you're previously a pad player and you think it might take too much time to adapt, it won't take that much time. And even if it does, you're investing in being able to be a better player. At least like my opinion, and maybe a lot of people will agree, but I think that's the true way of playing this game. So as a country, both East Coast and West Coast, it seems like we went through the same struggles. We were playing on American sticks, American boards. We're playing it wrong, and then eventually we're like, wait a minute, if I travel or hold up. Now we did the hold up, and then we just realized like, we gotta play this the right way if we really want to compete against the best players, and then you unlock something special in yourself, and it's fun to be able to do that. So yeah, just my 2 cents for that topic.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I always tell people like if you're comfortable playing on a pad, whatever, DDR pad, a Guitar Hero guitar, whatever, like if you're happy with that, then that's cool. But like if your aspirations are to like play this game at a high level and be able to compete at a tournament or in the arcade or whatever, you really should learn like Japanese stick, Japanese buttons, preferably Summitsu LS32 with Sama buttons.
Damn,
in my opinion.
Let's go.
Yeah, I know, like the standards. So like, yeah, like, because you don't want to travel and have an excuse like, oh, I can't play my best because I'm used to playing on this very specific setup. It's like, no, you should like adapt yourself to play on what is considered the standard. And also, like, I always feel like playing on like a stick and buttons is like learning to play on a musical instrument, right? Like it may not be the efficient way to like play a note, but it feels super good and it feels very like visceral and like sensual almost. So like I would recommend everyone learn to play on Japanese stick and buttons just because it feels so good, so much more than like playing on a hitbox. Even though it might be less efficient, it just feels way better. There's like a beautiful artistry to it.
Yeah, and if you guys want to see it, I think the best video to reference that is Daigo versus David Sherlin, where they're playing side by side, with Daigo playing on the Japanese cab and Sherlin playing on the US cab. You know which video I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And if you look at how Daigo's pressing the buttons, it's literally like some Mozart level shit. I don't know, like he's just going in. It's just funny that you see that like dichotomy. They're on completely opposite setups, and then you just got Daigo just styling on him with the button presses. Like I think for a good chunk of the video, you can't even see what's happening on the screen. You're just paying attention to Daigo's hands. But yeah, if that doesn't inspire you to want to play on Japanese stick, I don't know what will. If I find the link, I'll just drop it in the chat. But yeah, that was kind of an eye opener for me as well. So. Yeah, it looks like actually we have quite a bit in common. I know we skipped a little bit of your childhood, and you mentioned that you used to go to the arcade and like you knew about Street Fighter and stuff. Was there ever a competitive element for you in that game growing up?
As a kid, like I didn't join tournaments and stuff, but like as a kid, like you want to do well, right? Because like, you know, it feels good being good at something. But on the flip side, there's a very like fiscal aspect to it where you realize early on, hey, if I win my match, I don't have to pay more money to play. So in theory, if I just keep winning, like I will spend like a quarter and like we'll be able to play for like 10 minutes or whatever, right? So I think that's one that's one aspect that kind of gets glossed over, is that you don't have a lot of money as a kid, right? You might have like $1 from your parents or whatever, or like a handful of quarters that you scrounged up just digging through your couches, but there's a real like financial incentive to being good at a game. Yeah. So you can just have fun and hang out the arcade for like a long period of time and not like, you know, be broke at the end of it. But yeah, that's what was competitive for me growing up as a kid, like experiencing Street Fighter 2 for the first time in the arcade in the 90s.
It's like how far can I squeeze this quarter? So maybe back in the day, like if you had a choice to put a quarter into a Mortal Kombat machine or a Street Fighter machine, you put it in the Street Fighter machine because it would last longer, because Mortal Kombat, you're going to get bopped by the CPU. So exactly. I remember distinctly like, oh man, Mortal Kombat looks so cool. I'll play it this time. You just get, bodied by Cyrax or whatever. This is when MK3 came out. I'm like, all right, I'll just put my quarter in the hyper fighting machine next time. And like play a human potentially and try to make it work. But did you
exactly you had like decisions to make at the arcade? How far do you want your quarter to go?
It would be like so for us after school we used to go to a place called Galaxy, and it was on Coney Island Avenue in Brooklyn. And they had a couple arcade machines that would cycle them out. It was more like a comic book shop that had several arcades. And how late you got home after school was depending on like your win streak, or if you had $1 bill or if you had a quarter. So yeah, you really had to make it count. Nowadays that's not the issue at all. You just log on Fightcade and play whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, exactly. Back then, no, there were real stakes. Like, you do not want to lose your quarter. You don't want to sit there all salty waiting to play your next turn. It was a different environment.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so you mentioned as well, I guess also a bit of a fast forward, but you're already going to round one with Tanya. How long were you guys playing fighting games before that?
Not that long. I'd probably say, I don't know, like half a year or so at the most. So it was mostly me playing. Tanya actually hated fighting games in the beginning. Like, she really did not understand why I was playing Street Fighter 4 online or playing with my friends. Like, she was one of those like quote unquote normies that like just didn't understand fighting games, and like she saw it as like button mashing, waste your time, whatever. Like, she plays video games but like never fighting games. So yeah, it's interesting how I managed to like turn her, so to speak, to be like one of the biggest fans of fighting games in Super Turbo ever.
Yeah, she's definitely like one of the biggest cheerleaders for the game, of course. I remember when you guys were doing like the TOing at NCR a few years back, and you know, she's able to grab people that are across the hall and, you know, really bring up the energy and taking pictures with a bunch of players, had gifts for people. I'm like, damn, dude, like, she does a lot.
Yeah, no, she's a hustler. Yeah. She's really good at that kind of stuff.
So, yeah, because I think a lot of people might envy you, you know, to be able to have someone who's a significant other that's just as invested in something that you care about. And, you know, it's kind of like right now, if you wanted to, you could just end this conversation with me and just go be like, hey, let's play some high level ST. Like, it's so dope. Come on, man.
Yeah, no, I don't take it for granted. But no, for sure in the beginning, she hated it. So I don't know how I managed to like con her into becoming like a huge fan of fighting games, but it kind of worked out. I count my blessings. I don't
the
take
same
it for
way
granted,
you conned the rest of us.
Exactly. The same hustle worked on everybody.
All right, so you were at Super Arcade, and you know you're hanging out with Muffin Man and you know the usual suspects of ST. How did you build your connection with Mike Watson?
Oh, so Mike Watson, I mean, at the time he had like just taken over ownership, or he took over managing Super Arcade from the previous owners. And so he was just there all the time, like whenever we would go to Super Arcade. And, you know, despite his reputation as like a very surly man who kind of caused a lot of drama and stuff in the, you know, late 90s, early 2000s, he's actually a very nice guy. Like once you like just talk to him and hang out with him. And yeah, like after a while, like sometimes it would be a slow night at Super Turbo or whatever. And so like he would see me just like sitting there playing the CPU. And then like whenever he had free time, he would just sit down with me and play. And so yeah, like kind of through that, like I kind of got one of my first early experiences of like high level Super Turbo play. Because you know Watson has like a wealth of like experience and knowledge when it comes to Street Fighter. So like playing him for the first time is kind of like a culture shock. You're like, wow, like you're doing things and you're using strategies I would never even imagine, right? Like you could tell playing him, even though like I'm a very low level player at that time, you could tell this guy was like a master at what he did. And so, I don't know, just kind of through that and just like hanging out and talking, playing Street Fighter, like I got to know Mike Watson a lot. And so he was definitely a huge influence as to how I approach like Street Fighter, like philosophically, strategically, whatever. But yeah, that's sort of how I got to know Mike Watson.
I feel like he also, how can I say, imprinted that veteran quality in you, as far as like just really trying to like grind the game and learn it. And maybe the way that he taught you is how you taught other people afterwards. Just getting into like other old school games, like Hyper Fighting, and in ST you were playing, before playing Dalsim, you were playing like Old Gal, for example. So I think he definitely left like an impression on you, right? Where, you know, you kind of became like the next Watson in a way, if that makes sense. What do you think?
Yeah, kind of. Well, like definitely the reason why I tried Old Guile in the beginning was definitely due to Watson, because he would use Old Guile against me. And so through that, I was like thinking, okay, I'll give Guile a shot. I'll try to like do what he does. And you know, I used to play Guile way back in the day. So yeah, he was definitely an influence on why I play Old Guile. But I think in general, like he taught me the importance of like defense and having like a solid, like fundamentally based play style, right? Like kind of low risk, you know, never overcommitting yourself, sort of having this like certain like pattern of zoning or footsies or strategy where like you force your opponent to come to you and take risks, and that way you can damage them and punish them, and then you just keep doing it over and over again. Which is basically how I play Dalsim now. For the most part. I know. So if you want to blame someone for why I'm so lame, blame Watson, because he's the one who showed me the light on that stuff. But yeah, I've been trying to incorporate more like YOLO aggressive Bae/Ido style aggressive play in my game. But yeah, early on, Watson was probably like one of the biggest influences on me.
Now, what I like seeing from you recently, especially, was when characters would like jump in and you do this far ass walk up throw with Dalsim's slow walk speed. I'm like, damn. Yeah, that's the stuff I like to see. That's what I like to see. Even though his throw range is stupid, I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. He threw the electricity.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I walked from downtown all the way to you like a turtle. Just threw your ass ragged across the screen. No, that actually probably was influenced by Muffin Man, because like early on, like I realized Muffin Man plays like a hoe, for lack of a better word. Like he plays like a dick sometimes. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the same thing to you. I'm gonna do like all this dumb shit that shouldn't work but does work. And like obviously that doesn't work when you're a low level player, but like at a high level, like you start to realize like moments and opportunities where you can kind of play like a dick and do like a walk-up throw or like a wild walk-up uppercut, something like that. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, I've been trying to like do that more often, just because one is really funny, and two is really hype, and three, like it's just, I don't know, it just feels good doing shit like that.
Yeah, so. we've been seeing that quite a bit with you against Eggs and Bacon. Those are the funnest matches to watch.
Yo, boys, if you've never seen a Saget through a full screen walk-up throw on Dalton, yo, check me out.
Yeah.
Check me. Peep the VODs.
Yeah,
we got those.
Oh, shit. And then, so at this point now, you knew Watson, became friends with him. Did he ever share like Tomo and Jeff Schaefer stories with you? Or is there anything memorable from like anything old school that he shared?
I don't know. Like, you know, he's been around the scene a long time. He's got a lot of stories about playing Tomo, about how like because Tomo back then was a young kid, probably like 13 or 14, and he used to have a manager who was the owner of a comic book store called World's Finest, and he would talk mad shit about this manager because like apparently they used to like fix brackets all the time, or you know, all that kind of shady TO stuff that used to happen back in the day. And so Watson was kind of upset that like, while Tomo was like an insanely good and talented player, he hated the way his manager used to like hype him up and rig the brackets in his favor, all that kind of stuff. So there's that. There's stories about like fist fights at the arcade. There's like Vi stories I probably shouldn't tell.
Oh damn! Yeah, no, we'll wait for those guys if they want to share the stories. Yeah, that's a different kind of lore, but.
Yeah, he's got mad stories about like APOC and Wizard and the cannons, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Both good and bad.
This is getting a little rated R. I do want to say, while we're on the topic of Watson, I did have the pleasure of finally meeting him at Canada Cup, I think 2017, because he did go to that.
Right, yeah, he got invited.
And actually, we were just like chilling in the lobby and just like chatting, and we ended up talking about Street Fighter 2, not ST, I mean like CPS 1, and I was like, hey, you know, I'd love to fight you in Hyper Fighting. At this point, I never even played Hyper Fighting in my life yet. I was just like, I was like, oh yeah, like I know that's the game that you like. I like CE, but you know, they're probably similar enough. Like, I'd love to play you in that, like, because Atari had brought his board over. So he goes, yeah, we'll definitely play it. Let's play tomorrow. And then early in the morning, the following day, we had to do the top 8, and then after that, kind of like we all had a dip to do whatever we got to do. I don't know if we threw the hatchets that day or whatever, but yeah, I didn't get to fight him, but yeah, we chatted for quite a bit. Not so much about like the stories and the players, but just like tech about Street Fighter, why CPS 1 Street Fighter is so good. And it's just like, yeah, this dude's actually like super cool. And I think like how you mentioned before when you were introducing him, a lot of people think that he's kind of like, you know, like a dick or he's a menace to society, but he's actually not. Like he's like such a warm dude, man. Like yeah, I wish I could have played him more games, or played him any games rather. Maybe someday we'll do. Well, I'm retired in HF because John Choi like destroyed my soul, so I'll probably never ever touch that game again. I'll still shout it out, but I can't play that game again. He just like took away all my hope in caring for it. I can't do it, dude. But yeah, Mike lots of cool people.
I feel you. No, I feel you. I feel the same way playing Watson. And like the scary part is like Watson would even admit like, yeah, Choi's probably a little better than me right now. And like Watson is insane at Hyper Fighter. Like it's hard to understate like how good he is in that game, how like prepared he is for anything you do or might do. I don't know, he's incredible. Like it's hard to imagine him being that good.
Dude, there's that one video from Caltech or some shit.
Oh, the
yeah,
where
he's
video,
air throwing the Ken on reaction every time. Like, like he's playing like a nut. I mean, like in a good way. Like he's just getting everything. Like, but it's nutty. It's like, are you like Mortal Kombat 2 Jax, where you're just doing gotcha every time. Like, yeah, I mean that dude, Mike Watson knows how to play some Street Fighter 2. Let's just put it that way. But
no, for sure. What's crazy is that like, he'll say he slowed down a little bit, but like he has really good reactions. Like I see out of his like attributes, he has insanely good reactions. It's just like his execution sometimes get in the way because he's not very good on Japanese. But like on American sticks, at hyper fighting, like he's incredible. It's insane how good he is.
Now, actually, I was planning on watching some of these videos later, but one of the matches that I wanted to watch with you was the 37 Reloaded set that you had against him. Maybe we watched the first 2 games. So if you want to peep over here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Got the Yoga Sniper shirt on. I see you.
Yeah, shout out to NoHoHo.
Funny enough, guess who illustrated it?
What, you?
No.
Oh, I was like, what? Who?
It was Azroix.
Oh, really? Yo, yeah, the lore. Holy shit.
I told you, this dude goes way back. Way back.
Wow.
All right, so let's go ahead and play this.
Yeah, but no, I'm really glad I got an opportunity to buy that shirt. I love that shirt to death.
Oh, nice sniper out the gate. But
yeah, I was kind of slick back in those days. But yeah, at this time, I still had no idea how to really fight Dictator. I just sort of do stuff, kind of like what I do now. And like, no, the way he plays Dictator is very much like a CPS1 Dictator. Like no one else plays his way. It's very weird. But look at that reaction. Stand fierce at a close range drill. It's insane. On a fast stage.
Oh, nice.
Man, fuck this guy. I'm so mad just watching this. Anyways, but yeah, no, this was a really fun tournament. One of my like top memories of tournaments of all time. I loved it. It felt like how I imagine old school Evos were, because like that was a pretty small ballroom, but like everyone was in there, so like it was just really easy to like walk around and talk to everyone. The Marvel 2 players, Alpha 2 heads, all that kind of stuff. CBS 2. It was a cool like grassroots kind of event.
Right. So just so everyone's aware. Wow. Oh, he didn't get the punish though.
Throw him.
But just so everyone's aware, this was actually the Moment 37 Reloaded. So it's kind of like a Daigo reunion, because he had a set against Justin Wong and Third Strike and Alex Valle and ST, and that was all Mike Watson's doing, right? Like this is all kind of his thing.
Yeah, that was pretty much his idea. I think him and Mondo, or IE Battlegrounds at the time. Yeah, basically like Watson really wanted to create like a mini Evo, so to speak, kind of like a throwback to Moment 37, which was Evo 2004. But yeah, he wanted to recreate that vibe with the games of that era. So Super Turbo was there, Third Strike, Alpha, CVS 2, and then Street Fighter 4 just because it was a new game. But yeah, it was a really cool moment. Screw you, Watson. I hate that.
So how would you describe like Watson, who, you know, obviously doesn't play ST as much as we do, but he's able to hang. Like, how do you describe him as a player? Because that's like my main reason I really want to talk about this set is, you know, it was one of your, I guess, like earlier / bigger tournaments, but then also going up against one of your mentors.
Yeah, he has a very unique style, because basically he plays Super Turbo like he plays CPS1 games. Like the way he plays Sagat, the way he plays Dictator, all very similar. The only real characters he knows that plays like a Super Turbo character is like probably Ryu and Boxer a little bit. But yeah, he has a very unique play style that kind of threw me off. But at the same time, like I learned a lot about the game playing his like 5 or 6 characters that he knows how to play. So yeah, it's a trip. And also here, like, I didn't play as Dictator a lot, so this was kind of a weird pick for me. I didn't really know how to approach it, so I just went for a lot of, obviously, cheap tick-throws and stuff like that.
But he also did the same. This reminded me of the one time where Daigo used Dictator against Arturo. It's just like, what?
Yeah, it's like
what the
weird...
hell's going on? Yeah, this is a surprise.
Yeah, it's just a weird matchup.
Now he has super, so he can go through projectile.
Yeah, he would do the same thing to me and like put me in mix-ups. I would just guess wrong every time. I don't know how he knew, but like he would always do like on my wake up like a tick into like a throw, or a tick into a low attack, and it just always worked on me at the time. So it is what it is.
Now at this point, how long were you also playing Delsim? Because you already mentioned you were playing Old Gal and, you know, Ryu. So when did you like pick up Sim?
I don't know. What year was this? Was 2014, 15? What is this? there a timestamp on that video?
Yeah. It's 2014.
2014.
Maybe that's what I was
so
uploading.
I had been playing. So I had been playing him for about a year and a half. Yeah, probably like a year and a half thereabouts. So I wasn't like brand new to the character. I knew some stuff, but not so much Dictator stuff.
He's mocking you in between sets.
Yeah, because he knows me, so he always just talks shit between sets.
Typical Watson, man.
Yeah, no, it was funny. It's all in good jest. I wasn't like mad at him about it. Yeah, this is weird.
Even as a Dictator player watching this, I'm like, yeah, he's kind of doing like a lot of the right stuff, even though it's, you know, some of it is very CPS1-esque. He's doing all the right like setups.
Yeah, like he doesn't play like a super turbo Dictator, but clearly it's working. It threw me off a lot. That was a panic super if I've ever seen one.
No. Damn! And then he did the aerial teabag. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, that was rough.
Yeah. How was like Moment 37? You talked about the venue, but for those who weren't there, because you know Moment 37, you had to be there, right? But what was that like? Because was that your first time also meeting Daigo and all that?
Not my first time meeting Daigo. It's probably like the second time meeting Daigo. I think the first time I met him was like TOL 1.
Right, yeah.
Pretty sure TOL 1, yeah. But no, I think that was probably my first time playing on like a stage, which had never happened before for me, for ST. So it was a little bit nervous, but the general vibe was just really cool because I don't know, like everyone there was like kind of old school players, right? Like CVS2, Third Strike Alpha guys. So like it was just a cool, open, welcoming environment. Like everyone was just super friendly. Everyone was just super hype. Tanya was like extra loud that day. Like she was yelling so loud the entire ballroom could hear her whenever. But yeah, it was cool seeing Daigo and Justin and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, it was just a fun event. The only downside was when I was asked to play Daigo in that exhibition set later on. I was pissed off because like we got no warning or ahead of time. So like by then, like I had already lost to Mike Watson. I was salty. Me and Afro Cole were just like drinking at the front of the stage, just sort of chilling, hanging out. So I was already like 3 beers in when I fought Daigo. So like when I fought him, I was like already half tipsy. I was like, man, it's already hard enough beating Daigo, and now I gotta play him all tipsy. This is frustrating.
That's too bad.
And it's on stream, and it's probably like my most watched video on YouTube is like me getting destroyed by Daigo.
I heard about this guy ElTrouble. He's supposed to be really good with Sim. Let me go look up his videos. Oh man, he got
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you got the link, let's go ahead and watch that. You can watch it if you want to look it up while we're still chatting. But yeah, I remember that set. I remember he did Daigo does. He's all right. Let me test my memory. Let me test my memory before we watch. So
it should be.
So you had a huge life lead against him. Then he gets he crouches under your stand roundhouse and punishes it with the blue fireball. He gets you with one other stray hit, and then he does a walk up sweep and he stuns you with it. Yep. He does like 3 stray hits that are all counters and stuns you, and then he does jump fierce, stand fierce, and it looked like maybe he wanted to use Shinku to end the round, but you didn't have enough life. That's my guess. from having watched this way back when. So let's go see. Oh, what's the story behind that signed stick as well?
God, I'm so red. Oh, so the signed stick. But yeah, I've been so bad at fighting Shotos. I still am bad at fighting Shotos, but like Daigo's incredible. Like his ability to make like micro adjustments to things that you do or don't do is incredible. It's hard to explain. Like it's very unique fighting Daigo. Like you feel it. Like he's adapting to you like a cyborg. It's insane. But anyways, so the signed sticks are the what we call the Kuropi sticks, and those sticks were actually custom made by Arcadium for ST games. It wasn't TOL 1.
Yeah, it's TOL 2 ST games.
Yeah. No, it was TOL 2. You're right. It was TOL 2. So yeah, like Carl is, or Arcadium is like a pretty handy guy himself. He like does a lot of housework. He makes a lot of stuff on his own. He knows how to weld, how to work with wood. And so basically, he built these custom sticks that were designed to be like broken down and transportable and all that kind of stuff. Because at the time, we didn't have access to a lot of cabs, and/or they're kind of hard and unwieldy to transport to Evo. So Carl made these like custom sticks that are like to the exact size and specification of like sitting down at like a candy cab, complete with like same-attitude LS32s and buttons and all that kind of stuff. But the real thing is that like those sticks can be broken down into 3 pieces. So they're like super easy to move around. Like you can move them around like a Miata if you really wanted to, like a small roadster. They were super compact and easy to assemble, so that's why he made them. But also he gave them away for free to Karopi as kind of like a thank you parting gift for all the work he's done in Super Turbo.
That's so nice, dude.
Which is kind of cool.
By the way, Daigo doesn't come back in that previous round. I mistold parts of the story, but I just remember it was like exactly what you need to stun Dhalsim. It was crazy.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
I mean, you played really well. I think this is just one of those things where like experience kind of trumped, matchup chart, I guess.
Oh wow, still got him.
Yeah, for sure. He played it very well. But man, I was crisp back in those days.
Yeah, no, you crispy for sure.
I'm like, man, I'm doing stuff I forgot I knew how to do. It's weird. But yeah, all the signatures were actually like all the players who attended TOL2. Really just anybody, not just like players who qualify for TOL2. But we had like a bunch of Sharpies that were like, hey, everyone just like sign a stick. Like, we'll make it look really cool and stuff like that. So yeah, we got like a bunch of signatures on there. There's like Kusumondo, Kurahashi. And the funny part is, the first person to sign those sticks was Zoolander. And guess what he did? He made like this like giant John Hancock size signature that said Zoolander. That was like 6 inches long, like 2 inches tall. And we're like, what the fuck, Zoo? Like, everyone's supposed to sign this. You gotta make room for everybody else. So yeah, hold on. Do I have a picture of this thing? But yeah, if I find a picture of it, I'll show you. Like, you can clearly see Zoolander is by far the largest signature on there.
That's hilarious.
And we're like, God damn it, Zoo, what are you doing? He's like, oh, my bad.
Leave it at Zoolander.
Sign it. Yeah, I was like, of course Zoo would do that. Of course Zoo would.
That's hilarious. So where are the sticks now? Karopi has them, you said?
Yeah, Karopi has them. They're in his garage right now, just chilling.
Sick.
Yeah.
All right, so now, we got to the point where you're entering more tournaments, you fought old school players, you're getting comfortable, you made the transition to your character. Maybe you could talk about how you made the transition, and then I kind of want to go into like the tournaments you've gone to, and we could take a look at some of the pictures that we have of you.
Yeah, for sure. So like I said in the beginning, I played Ryu. Like a pretty standard Ryu light punch, the light punch color, the black and gold, which back then everybody used and now no one uses. It's the weirdest thing.
That's the jab, right? The jab button.
No one uses.
Yeah,
the jab, the default Super Turbo color. So yeah, I used Ryu back then. I was having a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. But I noticed like I would always lose to like Paper Cut and Mucus, who played Hawk back in those days. And it was really frustrating to me because like I feel like I was doing well. I was doing well in the footsies. I could uppercut his Hawk dives on reaction. I was doing pretty well. But then like he would just like do like a YOLO walk-up grab or walk-up uppercut, and then I would just die off that. Because back in those days, in my opinion, Paper Cut had like the best execution when it comes to like safe jumps and Sako ticks and all that kind of stuff. In my opinion, better than Damn Die back in those days.
I can comment on that after. Go on. Yeah.
Yeah, please do. Tell the East Coast side of that story. But yeah, I felt like whenever Paper Cut knocked me down, I was dead. It didn't matter how much health he had. Didn't matter how much work I did that round. Whether or not I had super, like it really didn't matter. Like he would just do safe jump, DP installs, and Sako ticks, and I would try everything. I would like mash, I would jump, I would tatsu. If I tatsu'd, he would do crouch medium punch and another stand jab Sako tick. If I did uppercut, he would just walk up, grab me, or uppercut. It was really frustrating to me. And also at the same time, like I realized that like DGV is such an insanely good Ryu player that like even if I got good with this character, I would always just be like that SoCal Ryu who's not as good as DGV, but is trying really hard. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I went through kind of like a character crisis where I wanted a different character that could fight guys like Hawk and like still be viable and win without getting knocked down and getting destroyed. So I messed around with like the old Shotos because I felt like the old Shotos kind of reminded me more of like when I used to play Street Fighter 2 as a kid, and so I had like a more simplistic like gameplay and playstyle. And also at the time, like Damdai was playing those characters and he was having really good results. So I figured, okay, like if Damdai can do it, then like there must be something to these characters that make him viable to win tournaments. So I tried like old Ryu, I tried old Ken, I tried old Guile thanks to Watson. And then eventually I figured like, okay, like I want a character that like fits my style, but also is strong enough that I can win matches and tournaments with them. But also a character that like no one really plays, I could really make my mark on. And at that time, which is like 2013, early 2014, like nobody really played Dalsum. Like at that time, John Rambo pretty much stopped playing. Afro Cole was around, but he was more focused on Street Fighter 4. Alex Wolf was retired, and that's pretty much all the Sims I could think of at that
Vital
time.
would have been the only other Sim.
C Vital, who I didn't know at the time. So yeah, I decided to play Dalsum, and like I really dedicated myself to learning that character because I like the idea of a character where if I play perfect or close to perfect, I can win every match. And then if I don't, I will just die to everybody. Because once like Sim gets knocked down, a bunch of characters have a good fighting chance to kill him. So that kind of attracted me to the idea that like if I play perfect, I should be able to win tournaments, no problem. But realizing that playing perfect is very difficult, and learning Dalsum, especially if you're a new player, it's kind of daunting because there's so much like knowledge you have to learn and player psychology stuff and all that kind of stuff. So that's basically how I transitioned to Dalsum, or why.
Yeah, because Dalsum is different from most Street Fighter characters with basically what you just said. It's like either play perfect or go home kind of thing. So if that does fit your like persona, it is rewarding when you're able to do that, when you're able to like play, you know, against Cammy perfectly to the point where you don't get hit by anything, or you know, being able to counter all of Ryu's fireballs with either slide or drill or, you know, whatever it is that you got to do, because, you know, you're focusing on being a perfectionist. So that's like the rewarding part, I guess, for Sim. From the competitor side, it's a struggle because Sim just has so many good buttons that it makes you want to rip your hair out. So that's why I always go off on like the, this isn't Street Fighter, Dalsum, no. Because he's just so different. And then I also have a different like perspective on Dalsum because of Champion Edition. Because when people ask me to like do a tier list for CE, I'm like, Ryu's the GOAT. I don't care what anyone has to say. But obviously Guile is up there, Dictator's up there, and if you kept going down the list, you would eventually have a bracket. I mean, like a ranking of all the characters, but then Dalsum will just be on a different list on his own because he's just such an obscure, like he's so weird and just breaks so many rules in CE that I just carry that over to ST as well. So that's the truth. But
that's called trauma, really. That's
yeah,
trauma.
I misspelled trauma. It's truth. What? Anyway, but I think it's interesting that you said, you know, you had to move on to a different character because despite like wanting to, you know, go through the Mike Watson teachings and, you know, seeing how Damno is using the Shotos, you didn't want to be like in DGV's shadow, and you kind of want to like carve, you know, a name for yourself and pick a character that you're able to win with. So that shows like the intention of, I want to play this game and I want to be able to win, and if I have to do it with this character, then so be it. And it's going to be a struggle at first because you have to learn like every button that works against every character, and it's always a different button in a different situation. But once you get it, then yeah, Dalsum is able to like really win matchups. So yeah, for anyone again who's trying to find out like which character they want to play, you also got to think about like, you know, what do you want your win ratio to be, I guess. How much work are you really willing to put in, and you can judge yourself what your personal goal is. So I feel like with you, you're just like, no, I want to be as competitive, you know, as the other guys, or, you know, I want to do something that fits my play style, which is, you know, being super methodical and, you know, letting the opponent mess up and not taking those crazy risks. And that's what Dalsum is. So yeah, I respect that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what drew me to him. And like I messed around with all the top tiers, but like Olsak was effective, but like kind of just boring for me. I hate Claw, just like as a traditional Street Fighter player. Even as a kid, like I hated Vega. Everything about him, the way he looks, the way he sounds, the way he plays, like I despise it. So like, if I really wanted to be like super hungry for the win, I probably would have picked Claw just because he's like one of the best characters in the game. But I feel like Dalsum is still strong and he fits my style a lot more. But I think like nowadays, like I realize like playing Dalsum is pretty much like a one-sided love affair, like you mentioned. Like it's about me solving my puzzle on my own.
It's
and
a one-player game for you.
That's yeah, exactly. And I realize like that's not very fun for other people. So like I think that's a big reason why I don't really play Dalsum in casuals nowadays. Like I have way more fun playing Ken and Dictator. So I think I might transition away from Dalsum in the future, but for now, like Dalsum's still very much my tournament character, who's pure business, all about destruction and all that kind of stuff. So,
I mean, it's kind of like what you did when you used to go on the bus and go up in the mountains. You do that whole meditation thing, but now it's time to start destroying fools in tournaments. So
exactly, I'll meditate and destroy. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. I think I did say I was going to get back to the whole execution thing, right? With Paper Cut and Damn Die.
You mentioned a little bit,
yeah. So I did say I had a comment for that, and there's no question about it. Like Paper Cut had the better execution.
For sure.
When I would talk to Damn Die and say like, "Hey, why don't you learn how to Sako Tick?" And I understood his methodology, which we know is LCD style, right? Least common denominator. So he plays as if it's like Dalsum, where I'm going to press the least amount of buttons possible to get, the most effective result, which is you're not going to make a mistake. If you don't go for Sako Tick and you're doing like jump jab, low short Typhoon, you have a better chance of landing a Typhoon. And so that was kind of his thing. So he decided to see like his Hawk result in a different way that Paper Cut did. That year or those years, Paper Cut was definitely like the shining star of ST. Just off like the execution matchup knowledge. Like he was doing, crouch fierce anti-air and then following up with safe stand jab into Sako Tick. I'm pretty sure Mucus had a bunch of that tech too, but to me, Paper Cut was just like, damn, you're really changing the game or changing like the US meta right now, because you're catching up to all the setups that they're doing in Japan. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, being exposed to that, I can see why you'd want to switch to find like your new true love or your new character for ST, because you also want to be able to like do that thing for yourself where like I'm the guy for this character and I'm gonna express myself this way. So
yeah. Pretty much. Plus, like, it has an added benefit of like having a new character loyalist in SoCal that play a different character. So that was kind of neat, I guess, for everyone else.
Yeah. As far as like which region was better, back then, I mean, you gotta give it a Cali, right? I mean, come on, because like you guys had, I think you guys had the quantity and the quality. Because all right, let's just say like we took Damn Die out of the equation, right? Back then for East Coast. I mean, yeah, you had Mars, Tech Monkey as like, the most active of the East Coast scene at the time, because at this point, like John was already done playing. So yeah, like I don't think we had the numbers. Maybe the quality of skill was still really high, but yeah, definitely California between NorCal and SoCal had both the quality and the quantity. But if we talked about like the top, then it was pretty much all right. Damn Die versus Afro. So I talked about it in a previous episode. Our perspective was still like, oh, East Coast is better. Like we got, Mars and we got Damn Die, Riz. Like, yeah, we'll just go around and beat everyone. But that wasn't the reality. And I think like I had my eyes closed for a little bit about all that stuff. But now having been exposed to more of like the West Coast players, and I'm like, yeah, actually, if you think about it, like you guys had a DGV back then. Like, come on, man. You guys had a Hulk. Like, come on.
It's funny because at the time I kind of thought the opposite. I felt because at the time that we had the big old money match between Afro Legends and Damdai.
Yeah.
And so, at least from my perspective, and I think a few of the SoCal guys, we were like, that's an easy win for Afro. Like, I know guys are saying Damdai is gonna win, but like, they haven't fought Afro like we have. Like, we know for a fact like Afro's gonna win if he does DJ. Like Boxer, it's a little shaky because you guys had a pretty good Boxer back then, but the way we reasoned it was that like you guys do not have a DJ at the level of Afro Legends. I think that might throw off Damien. And also like Afro Legends took it super serious. Like we were in the lab like practicing certain setups and like anti-air situations that he might use, all that kind of stuff, theory crafting. But like even just taking out Afro and Damdai, I actually felt like the East Coast probably would have done better than us, because while we still had like DGV who could, do very well, he was just one guy, right? And like we had like guys like Muffin Man, Paper Cut, I guess if you count Vae, Digital Infamy is also very good. He's in the mix.
Oh, yeah.
Like we didn't have enough exposure to you guys to know for a fact that we could beat you. And so it was like a question of like how well could DGV carry, but to me that's not like an indication of how strong a scene is, right? Like you want everyone to be strong. So I actually felt like guys like you, Mars, would probably like beat most of our guys, and then it would come down to how well DGV played that day. Is more or less how I looked at it. And definitely like Ultra Combo was on the come up back then, but he was still, he was a good player, but not the level he is today. So it would have been hard to see how well we would have done. But it would have been a great match actually if we like actually managed to get together back in those days and do a West Coast versus East Coast thing.
So we'll build a time machine. We'll go back in time. We'll talk to the younger us and be like, guys, you don't know, but in the future,
No, I have a message. I have a dire message to bring to you. Start practicing.
It's gonna be Eugene the pastor just gonna go back in time. You're gonna be like, hey, change your gamer tag while you're at it.
Exactly. He's like, who the fuck is this old motherfucker?
Well, why the hell do I look like Jeff Goldblum? Well, who the hell? What's going on?
What's going on? Who are you? What is this? What's the lore about? Why do you keep saying lore?
Yeah, what's this lore shit? What's chill? What the hell's going on?
What happens to me in the future? Exactly.
But I will say, like, I think what East Coast had was the confidence. Like, I think when Damdai, B Mars, Tech Monkey, like when we talked about East Coast, West Coast for like, who could compete, I think we definitely had the confidence. Like I felt like, all right, if we put Mars to fight anyone, like I'm confident Mars would win. Same thing with Tech Monkey. Even like I felt pretty confident, but I felt like at that time I was able to beat anybody, even if I wasn't winning everything. Just felt like the capability was there. Maybe more confidence than I would have like now or whatever. But I think like the whole East Coast was pretty confident, even though we didn't like fight Afro yet or see much of the videos and stuff. I was a little bit worried about that first to 10, and it's because, like you said, there was no way for us to really lab it. And if we tried, it was kind of like, maybe I'll play DJ a game or two. And I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, there's not enough match footage out there. And, if you could beat my DJ, it doesn't mean much. So it's just, carrying on that whim of the confidence. And hopefully that was enough to bring it over, at least in my perspective. I'm sure Damdai also took it serious, but he couldn't take it serious on that level. It's just, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's hard. You're limited, essentially, right? By, I don't know, like your competition that's available to you. But yeah, no, like thinking about it, like I think Damdai and Afro aside, I think East Coast definitely would have won. Yes, DGV is very strong, but like it's not like it's a free win for him. You know what I'm saying? Like definitely you guys could fight him in a team battle and beat him, single match or whatever the format would have been. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because like a lot of our SoCal players, besides DGV, Vae, Afro, were like kind of new school, like definitely newer school than you and Mars, and the rest of the Don't Blow This crew.
Yeah, I mean, since we can't really know, what that would have been like. I think in the current era, the conversation that we can have is like US versus Europe.
That'd be a good one.
Right? Like top 10 US versus top 10 Europe, and what would happen? And you can't be like, oh, subtract like Afro or Damdai and Zagi. Like everyone's in it. Everyone's in. Like what would happen? So that's like about the only debate we can do. And then hopefully when things get better, try it out. And it's something that actually Yoga Boy and I talked about on his episode as well. So yeah, I mean, there's a chance, we might be able to do that. That could be like the hypest thing that's happened for ST, because it's a pretty important topic, or a big debatable topic. And I really don't know who would win. That's tough to call. I don't want to be like, I can't pick a side for that. So
yeah, no, like I'm with you. Like neither can I. Like I witnessed firsthand like how many good players they have, even guys that like aren't, quote unquote known or popular or whatever. That would be a hard call. I mean, I don't know, like yeah, like I'm sure Damdai and Ultra Combo would do serious work, but I mean, there's no slouches over there in Europe either. There's a lot of hungry guys, just like here, like young guys who are like want to make a name for themselves, and they have strong competition to show them the way and help them level up. But yeah, USA versus Europe would be insane, but that would be so hard to set up because it's just so far away from one another. Yeah,
we would have to just commit, like, I don't know, to one tournament where it's just completely safe and everyone has the means, and we're like, we have to make this happen. Like this hasn't happened before. Let's just do this shit. Like 10v10. I don't know. That would be hype. That's maybe something that's in the pipelines for the future. We'll see. But
that would be epic. That would be absolutely amazing. Plus, like, it would give everyone a reason to like really shore up and take it serious and get to grind again, and practice up to represent your country and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, let's go ahead and actually, because we got knocked out, we were able to get one quick update. So let's take a look at this photo right here. So I can read some of this stuff. I see Matsun and was that Kurahashi? You got to sign it up top. Who else you got?
Yep, Damdai in top right. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Some NorCal guys. Yeah, Jollies. Yeah, TMF is in there, of course. And I think if you look carefully, you can kind of see Zoolander in there.
Where?
If you look real carefully. I don't know, man. He's
all I see is 200 Lander.
God damn it! Look how big that thing is.
What was he thinking? Like one of the O's is as big as a button.
Bro, I cannot tell you what he was thinking. I just know we got mad at him.
Oh man. Yeah, this is some pretty epic stuff. Like I can't believe there's not more of these out there. You know what I mean? Like this is history right here.
Yeah, it's just two of them. I don't think I have a photo of the second one. But yeah, that one also has signatures. Unfortunately, a lot of the signatures are faded over time, as you can see, like some of the ones in the middle, the bottom right, top left.
Yeah.
But no, it's a real cool piece of history, and it was really awesome that Arcadium made it for free. That there's a lot of labor and cost. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of labor and cost that went into that, and it was a cool send off for Kuropi to have.
What happened with the Kurahashi one up here? It's like a little screw or something.
Oh, so the way that top panel is held on, there's 4 screws that hold it on, kind of like in that area where you see up there. And then I forget which tournament it was, but I think somebody like severely over tightened the bolts, the fasteners that hold it on, and so the metal just like popped up through the wood. Unfortunately, right over Kurahashi.
Damn.
So, I think someone just got overzealous with tightening the bolts and just damaged it. But it happens.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyhow, this is like a cool project. I think maybe try something like this again with like the 2020 plus era. This is now like a little dated, but
yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
In the mix. Yeah, this is sick.
Actually, there's a lot of guys who like bring their CPS2 boards around and like have all the players sign it.
That's another good one, because those are gonna last forever. Like as long as you're taking care of them. Yeah,
so I know TMF has one, and there's a few guys in Europe who have signed CPS2 boards, all that kind of stuff. It's really awesome.
All right, well, we have your Also, just some more pictures. Which one to start with? Let's go ahead. Let's go in order.
Oh, do I have the secret photo?
Secret photo? What is this, new legacy stuff?
So on my first trip to Japan, I had an idea to like just like sell or raffle off a bunch of posters signed by Japanese players, and so I literally commissioned Kurobi to like make some quick little poster, and then I would bring like 20 of them to Japan and have a bunch of Japanese players sign them. And so I literally like built this like custom like cardboard box specifically to carry the posters in my carry-on, so that way they're like protected. Because like I didn't want the poster paper to be like rolled out because it kind of like looks like crap and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I have a bunch of posters signed by like 20 Japanese guys that I have in my closet, and one of which is framed and on the wall. I figured I might as well show it to you, but is it
the one with Ryu with the Japan, like the rising sun in the back?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh,
yeah.
Actually, I think
Wait,
at NCR...
Did I give one to you?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
you were telling me, I have one.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be able to take a picture of it and add it on, so you guys can check it out. But yeah, it's pretty dope.
Sick.
I needed it for my collection.
Cool. Yeah, and we got a lot of guys to sign that one too.
Now we have quite a bit of pictures to look at. So let's start with this guy over here. Who are we looking at?
So from the left going to the right, you see the two DGV twins right there. So DGV stands for Dark Gate and Vintage, which is a combination of the brothers' handle. So DGV, the player, is the second from the left. So the shiny bald head over there.
Right.
That's
one
the
of the
actual...
shiny bald heads. Yeah.
You know what's so funny is that I mean, the running joke is that Vintage, the guy on the far left, looks like a Ninja Turtle. So we just always call him like Raphael or Michelangelo whenever he's not looking. But yeah, the second from the left is DGV, and the first on the left is his brother Vintage. So those are the twins there. Here's me in the middle. To my right is Muffin Man. To his right is Kuropi, aka Bob Painter. And then the guy down there is Zaspacer, the only dictator we had in SoCal. And yeah, this was taken at SCR in, I forget which one, might be 2014, I think. But yeah, that was after the tournament. And I don't know if you can see, but like me, Muffin Man, and Bob look very unhappy. And that's because we got really sick at this tournament. And then literally the day after, like all three of us collectively slept for like a day and a half. We just were completely knocked out. So yeah, that tournament nearly killed all the TOs in SoCal in one fell swoop.
Do you remember who ended up taking the tournament?
It might have been Valle.
Oh, damn. Shout out to Valle.
Afro Legends? I don't know. I'm going to look it up right now. But I do know that Valle was playing on crack that day. He was, like, absolutely incredible. He was saying, like, yeah, he's, like, playing super well. Like, all of his uppercuts were coming out. His reactions were insane. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when that dude's on one, it's pretty nutty. You don't want to be around. When he's on one.
Yeah, he was insane. Was it 2014? I'll check right now, but keep going.
Yeah, all right, let's see. Oh, well, we already talked about this guy here, so...
Hey. Yeah, so this is a random Wednesday Night Fights tournament. And so we were all just commentating, DGV on the far right, me on the left. And the guy in the middle is Arcadium, a.k.a. Carl. And that's his infamous portable stream setup that he brought for a while, which is literally all of the stuff like Velcroed to this like plank of wood on a stand. And that was literally all he used to stream all of our tournaments back in those days. It's kind of a cool little setup, I thought.
Yeah, Carl's a pretty unique guy, I must say. So he was streaming outside of Wednesday Night Fights. I see with that paper bracket.
Yeah, the legendary paper brackets that everyone used to clown on me. Yo, everyone made fun of me back in those days because they were like, why don't you use Challenge? Like, it's super easy. And I was like, yeah, I could use Challenge, but like, it's so much quicker and easier just to write it all on paper. So yeah, for a good long while, we used paper brackets. And now thanks to that, I can easily like draw a top 16, top 32 bracket just from memory.
I mean, paper brackets, even like 2010s, was still happening for us. I think we only really started using Challenge or whatever after Damned introduced us like Tonamento. And so when we used to do like like gatherings at Mars's house or Mike Itch's house. We would just do random tournaments and random formats and use like Tournamento, random.org to like seed brackets for us randomly and make random rules. But I always used paper bracket as well. Not creating them, but just seeing like a TO with a piece of paper.
Yeah, man. Paper brackets are great. They don't have electricity. They don't have Wi-Fi. None of that stuff. It just works.
All right, what do we got here? This is definitely Nagoya, right?
This is definitely Nagoya. So this is 2017, our trip to Japan. And you'll see a bunch of familiar characters down there. I'm down there. Tanya, Silent Scope, Sharon, Damned Eye, of course. I think Francois is in there. I see Easy Morn.
See him.
But yeah, that was our first time visiting Nagoya. So yeah, that was a pretty cool moment for us. I thought it was a pretty cool photo.
Dude, that is the hyperbolic time chamber of SC as far as I'm concerned. This dude with the suit. Actually, one time when I went to Nagoya...
You know him too? That's crazy.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
Because when I went to Nagoya, he goes, oh, like, where are you visiting from? So, New York, or I think, because I was still living in New York at the time. He goes, oh man, they're so strong here at this arcade. And he's pretty much like the translator for between me and Mal when I was asking like Mal some tech. And I don't think this kid like plays Street Fighter, so he was... No. He just happened to be like, he just goes to the arcade to play other stuff, but he helped translate. So it was cool like seeing him in this picture.
Apparently like whenever like foreigners come to Japan, like Superstar asks him to help out with the translations. He's a nice guy though. He's nice.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. But yeah, how's your experience at Space Shuttle? I
mean, Space Shuttle was pretty insane. I mean, you know, any Japanese arcade with their strong Super Turbo players is pretty special. But Nagoya especially, like, you can tell, like, you know, they're one of the smaller game centers, but everyone there was, like, super strong, super motivated. I don't know who's in this photo, but, like, you see Balcork, you see Yondaime is back there. I'm pretty sure Ito's in the mix.
ARG, SE.
Yeah, they were all in there. Yeah. But yeah, they were all super strong, and like it was really cool because like when I first sat down, I didn't know who Superstar was. Like I know him by reputation, but I don't know what he looks like. And so like he was like messing around, playing all side characters, whatever. And then like I started winning like a few games in a row, and it's like all right, and he pulled out Boxer, and then we're scrapping it out. But yeah, it was really cool meeting him. That's also where I met Prince. Edo Chun. And like it was funny because like he seemed like a really stoic, like serious guy. And then like after we played a few games, I like kind of like went over there because like we were kind of like on foreigners on one side, Japanese players on the other. It's just sort of how it lined up. But like I noticed like nobody was like really interacting with each other for whatever reason. So I like went over and like started talking, and then like all of a sudden he like lit up like a Christmas tree and like started like talking. He was smiling. He had the best smile I've ever seen. I was like, holy shit, you're really friendly. Like where did this form of you come out of? And so yeah, we started like just chilling out and bonding and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's really cool because like I mean, you know, when you play in Japan, like it feels like every match you're playing is like an Evo Grand Final set. Like,
yeah, basically.
Casuals do not feel very casuals. Casuals feel like a tournament match every single time you put your quarter up or your yen up. It's incredible. Everyone should play the Super Turbo in Japan at least once just to experience that feeling.
Yeah, it's a pretty epic photo. You have a lot of like amazing players here. Since you mentioned Edo, actually, I knew him from before I even went to Japan. Like we knew each other for a long time from GGPO. And
nice.
So when I told him I was in Tokyo, I'm not going to go too deep into this story, but when I was in Tokyo the first time in Japan, I was like, oh, like you should come by. So he took the bus or something from wherever he was living at the time. He was like, oh yeah, it took like 8 hours or 6 hours or whatever. And he came down just to meet up. At this time, he wasn't even playing like ST in tournaments or anything. But because he hung out with like all of us, we went out to dinner and like I invited him to because cool. Like he was an online warrior, but because he got exposed to everyone, I remember like the following year he teamed up with Mao at a tournament, or he beat Auto-Chun at one of those like weeklies, and I was like, what the hell? And then he became like one of the main ST guys.
Nice.
And damn it, has a nickname for him, Corky Romano. But
it's pretty perfect.
Yeah, so that dude Edo was just like a random online player, but then I think when he saw, oh shoot, like these guys hang out, and like, because he, even when we were with the Japanese players, he wasn't even like greeting them, like he was too shy or too nervous. And then he became like, when he saw that we were doing it, I guess he opened up a little bit more. And now, like I said, he teamed up with Mao at Excess, for example, and he actually set up Fight Kid for Mao recently. So
nice.
Yeah, so now they're playing online. But yeah, Edo's hella cool people.
Yeah, he is, but like he seems like a very stoic, like kind of Tokyo-esque Japanese guy. Yeah. And then you like attempt to talk to him, and all of a sudden he like opens up and like he's like super excited and like, I don't know.
Yeah, like you said, that smile. That
smile, dude. Best smile I've seen in Japan.
What about this picture here?
I love this photo. So this is TOL1. Which, if you guys don't know, it has
to be TOL2, right? Wait, because TMF is there, and
no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Definitely TMF TOL2. So, and for those who don't know, Tournament of Legends was like a series started by Kuropi and the rest of the ST Revival group to like have like a big tournament at Evo every year where we have like Japanese invites and all that kind of stuff. I think it was the first time it was ever done, as far as I know. But anyways, this is in the Super Turbo Salty Suite that Josh C graciously put up in Vegas. You see Josh C and left over there. And yeah, we all like literally like try to get together for a photo, but it was kind of crowded inside the actual room itself because like there were cabs and super guns everywhere. So we just had everyone just come out to the balcony and take a photo. And so, yeah, like we see all the usual suspects here. Technical Monkey down left, Igloo above him, Josh C. You see Shotos All Day on the bottom right, who is like one of the best players ever, but he doesn't really go to tournaments all that much anymore. And then, yeah, you see a lot of Japanese heads in there. You see Zoolander up front, of course. You see Cross hiding in the back, Matsun, Papasi, my boat guy on the top right over there. You can kind of tell who he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hanashi in the top left, Ganlon lurking behind him. There's a lot of known people and players in this photo, so it was a pretty incredible moment.
Man, this is actually like a beautiful moment. I like the tone as well. It has like the yellows and browns, kind of like sepia tone maybe, but it's like it's one of those moments captured in time. Like Zoolander thought it was a good idea to do like bunny ears, for example, and then like I like Mars is in the back just throwing up a peace sign. Like he's never about the limelight. He's just like chilling.
Yep.
Yeah, no, like this is a pretty sick photo. I see this a lot. Like I've seen this photo circulate online a lot. It's pretty like classic, I want to say. Where's Damdai?
I don't know where he is. I know this is like in the middle of the day, so I don't know. Maybe he just wasn't around. But no, it was kind of impromptu. It wasn't like a planned thing. It was sort of like, oh, we're all here. Let's take a photo.
All right, this is a big one here. Let me see if I can find you while you talk about it.
Okay, so this is XSB 2019. Big shout out to the Lados guys and the rest of the crew in Lyon, France for inviting us out there. So yeah, this is a big event. This is a big group photo after the tournament was already over. Yeah, I'm down there. And yeah, so you see, so this is taken at Game Spirit in Lyon, France, which is kind of like a really small like video game shop. And that's sort of the front of the room. So you kind of see the door at the very top in the middle. That's like the entryway. And then you get inside, you see the cabs hidden between all the people there. And then there's like a second floor area that kind of overlooks that first floor. And there's like that second floor is like literally all cabs. So like on that day, they probably had like 9-10 cabs up there. And then there were like 4 more down there. So there was a lot of setups that day that were all head to head. And yeah, that was a pretty incredible tournament. So you see a lot of European players in there. You see Abdel, you see Moore and Zargot. Zagi is there as well. Max 31. You see Banshee Bot Blanca, who's kind of an unknown player, but he was a really strong Blanca player that I really think is going to be the next big player in France. And up front, of course, you see Shogatsu, myself, Tanya. You see Fujiwon in the bottom left. I don't know, man. There's a lot of bodies in there.
I mean, there definitely is. I think if I had to count, there's like 200 people in there. No, it's pretty hefty.
Yeah, you see Orf way in the back.
Yeah,
we have
with
back
the
left.
Chaos Flare Matsun.
Yeah, with Chaos Flare Matsun. You see Tuakak, the Dalsum player. You see Mel, Pierrot. You see Psychochronic is in there as well. He was the other American invite as well.
Well, Canadian invite.
Yeah, sorry, North American invite. You see Marcade Honda. You see Pao, developer of Fightcade. He's in there. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be here all day listening to people.
Who's this guy next to Zagi that looks like a European Ultra Combo?
That's Max 31, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Max 31. And
does he look like Seb here a little bit? I don't know.
It's just how he looks. Yeah, I don't know. He's got that look. Yeah, very quiet guy, but very strong player. You see Balcork next to Zalgi as well. And yeah.
So how was your experience? Was this your first time going to France, Paris?
Yeah, it was my first time going to Europe in general. Tanya's been there a few times, like as a exchange student and whatnot, but never for Super Turbo. But we had an absolutely amazing experience. Like, I cannot praise these guys enough for the work they've done. Both at XSB and like also just sort of like taking care of us and like making sure we got around okay, taking us out for meals, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, everyone in France was like super nice, like kind of like anywhere else in the world. And I think that's really the cool experience, is that like, even though, I mean, first of all, everyone pretty much spoke English at like even a basic level, so it was pretty easy to like communicate with one another. But secondly, like, it was just really cool seeing that environment in France and realizing how similar it is to pretty much like all the other majors in America and Japan. It's like Super Turbo is like a universal language, and just I don't know, it was a cool environment to be in, where everyone was just like very welcoming, very friendly, and also really strong players. Like, it's been a long time since I've been in a room like that where everyone was just good. Like, everybody was just like at the minimum, they were like high intermediate level.
Yeah,
but usually
to put it to the test, you can close your eyes, just point anywhere on your screen, and most likely they're a really strong player when you open your eyes. Like, that's you know what it's looking like. And don't put your finger bottom left. You're just gonna point at yourself. But I'm just saying, like. But yeah, tell me a story. Tell me like a sick ST story from this tournament.
From that tournament, I don't know what sick story was there. I don't know.
For the lore.
It was just incredible watching everyone play. Well, before we went, I know people were like pretty hyped up for us to play Max 31 because everyone considers him to be like the strongest Cammy around. And then, but yeah, like, we were playing casuals, and the funny thing is, like, Tanya played him first, and she was like, "Oh, this guy's absolutely amazing!" Like, he was just destroying me in the Cammy versus Honda, which is a really bad matchup. And then, like, I played him, and like, yes, he was very strong, but honestly, like, I didn't feel like he was doing anything specifically in that Dalsum matchup that like Silent Scope wasn't doing. So like, I don't know, it's interesting seeing like how we have different like viewpoints of how strong a player is, just sort of based on how well they handle certain matchups. But yeah, he was really cool to fight. Oh, what other story is there? I don't know, I'm not a big story guy. It was just a dope experience in general. It was really incredible watching the team battle, just because I don't know, this was really cool seeing like the French team do so well against the Japanese players and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, like, Max 31, Zagi, and Balcork is a pretty OP team in my opinion.
Nah, that team is broken, dude. That shit should be banned. That team is banned as far as I'm concerned. Don't do that.
No, it doesn't feel right. Dude, I'm like, can you imagine beating Ballcork and Max 31 and then you're prized to fight Zaggy? I was like, oh my god. Leave me alone.
Yeah, that's too much, dude. Like, because that's a team that can like OCV a Japanese team. Like,
oh, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, that's tough. That's why, after having talked to Ballcork for a couple hours, I came to the conclusion that yeah, you guys are pretty damn awesome. So, yeah, this is a really nice picture. Anyhow, what else we got here? We can do
whatever you want.
Let's see. Yeah, let's do this one. This is funny.
So this is taking at the Arcadium studio. It's gone through many different like iterations and whatnot, but yeah, this is the one where there's a giant blue screen in the background, which is how we're able to like seamlessly blend into the stream. And then like in front of us, you can't see, but there's like a giant projector screen. That's how we usually play Super Turbo, on like a giant, like, I don't know, 70-inch projector screen. But yeah, this is the day that like the NorCal guys came down and visited us. We just hung out with Carl. And I think for that one, we did like a little mini tournament. Everyone under 30 versus everyone over 30.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So starting from the left, it's me, and then the next to me is Scuzzbucket. So that's what he looks like in real life. For those of you out there who are curious. And then next to him is Igloo. Next to Igloo to the right is Darkness in the Fog, one of the NorCal players. Pretty good Claw, pretty good Bison, pretty good
Cammy. Yeah, Ryu. He plays quite a bit of the cast.
Yeah, he plays a lot. He hasn't been around much lately, but he still, checks in with me every now and then. Still doing well. I don't know what the heck Muffin Man is doing, but he's just doing a weird look.
He was photoshopped. No, him and Darkness are just photoshopped into this photo. I don't think they were actually there that day. Someone shopped them in.
Yeah, that's what's going on, I guess. And of course, on the far right, you have Ultra Combo and FUD. He will always be FUD to me. I refuse to call him Noun. That name doesn't exist.
I only ever call him FUD or Nate. You're right. Noun is so hard for me to.
It is. But yeah, that was a fun day. Just a little group photo of us.
Is this also where you used to record your dang it, what was the name of it? Your Super Turbo episodes for your training series? I forget if it had a name.
I think we just called it like Super Turbo Tutorials, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, tutorials.
Or it's not Saturday, that's Dan Dice thing. But yeah, that's the same studio where we recorded all that kind of stuff. And like there's like a ton of like consoles and PCs and video games in there. There's a couch where you can like sit and chill and play video games. Yeah, it was a pretty cool place. I do miss it.
All right. Is this at the aquarium in
oh god, yes.
In Toronto? And then you go down this is like a crawl space?
No,
was this
that
the
was
crawl
like,
space or no?
I mean, I think there is a crawl space, but no, that's like a little like kind of like a little bubbled area. It's kind of like a little circle area you reach. And you kind of just sit there and just chill out.
This is that meme, your emote.
Yeah, exactly. That's where the emote came from, if you guys are curious. This is the photo that launched like 1,000 memes, so to speak.
Yeah. I recognize this because I actually went to the same... it's like the Ripley's Aquarium in downtown Toronto or whatever.
Yeah. It was like literally right next to the venue for TOL 3. So yeah, I was there on vacation as well, so we just stopped by and hung out there.
Yeah, it's a really nice place. It's gorgeous. Let's see,
Oh, this is a good one. This is SoCal Regionals. I forget what year. They all blend in after a while. Must have been like 16 or something like that.
2017, based on the projector right here.
Oh yeah, there. Yeah, so that was 2017. And yeah, that was fun because we were like an official part of the lineup at SoCal Regionals. And that was a cool group photo that we took. So you see, starting from the left, you see Afro Legends, Alex Valle, Blockbuster John, Tanya, Atari, my captain, the Prime Minister of ST, of course. Can't hard miss him.
So between the three of us, I'm the dictator, you're the president, he's the prime minister.
Exactly, man. It's the Triforce of the Illuminati, you know?
Let's go.
The pyramid. Yeah, Sebastian, you guys know. And next to Sebastian is actually Tomo. Not Ohira, Tomo from Japan, who lived in SoCal for a year for school. And yeah, that was his first US tournament. He actually beat Afro Legends that year, which I think was the major catalyst for why Afro Legends started playing again that year and like really getting back into it, because he finally had like competition that could challenge him, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Chris Atala is next to Tomo. I forgot his gamer handle, but anyways, he's a big part
Galleon.
of the... Yeah, Galleon. I was like, Ganalon, Galleon, one of those. But yeah, he's a big part of... Well, like, yeah, I always got those two confused because like that name was so similar. I was like, the Claw player or the other guy? But yeah, he's a big part of the STR in the beginning, who helped organize TOL 1 and 2, I believe. And then we have Silent Scope on the top right, and then Kuropi behind underneath them, and James Chan kind of lounging and taking it all in the very bottom.
Sagat stage cosplay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was cool. That was me and James commentated that year, so it was just a cool little moment for us.
Yeah, this is pretty nice, and I can see the determination on Afro's face, and he's like, "I'm gonna win next year."
Well, he's pissed. You can tell he's pissed.
Yeah, the whole Tomo thing is definitely another chapter that we're gonna have to talk about.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Today, that's like on my list of like questions. That was like another one of those disruptions to the timeline for like ST and leveling up in the US. But very wholesome photo here as well.
But yeah, that was the first time like I commentated like on an official stream, and that was the one where like we had like in-ears and like production teams talking to us. We had like this little button on the side to mute us if we needed to cough. It was like a pretty high value commentating station. Oh god.
This will be the last one we look at, and then we gotta watch the video that goes with it.
All right. Oh, you have the video? God, I don't want to watch it. Anyways, so if you guys don't know, I went to Combo Breaker in 2018, and yeah, so I ended up winning that year, which was already a big moment for me. But also at the same time, apparently, Tanya had this idea in her head to propose to me on stage in front of everybody, which is kind of embarrassing. Because I hate being like the center of attention and all that kind of stuff. But what she didn't know is that like I had also wanted to propose to her, but I didn't really have it in my head as to like how I was gonna do it or like plan anything out. But I figured like it'd be kind of cool to like propose to her while we're traveling, just because I don't know, it feels romantic or something. So yeah, I like carried the ring with me that entire weekend, and so it was just funny that like we both had the same idea to like propose to each other and get married or whatever on stage. So I hate this picture. It's again one of those meme pictures that people made of me. Shout out to Mama Dow.
It's better than Michael Jordan crying, but
I guess. But like, it's a cool photo because like it's like on stage right after we did the top 8 ceremony for medals and trophies, and then of course you see Silent Scope getting hype in the top left, and Uncle Vi blessing us with his rushdown spirit. But yeah, that was a cool moment for us.
I actually remember watching, and you're
you
like,
watched?
And you took the mic, and you're like, actually, this is what you don't realize is, and then you like start going through your backpack. I was gonna propose to you, and then Vaya's like, oh shit, FATC. Yeah, let's go ahead and watch that match.
The best comment I saw on Twitch was that she didn't know he had a 1-frame reversal proposal window or something like that.
The secret Dawson tech guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So at this point, you were in the winner's bracket, so you didn't lose at all the entire tournament, right?
Yeah, I didn't lose. I had a few like close games. My first 2 games, I fought Claws and almost lost to them, but kind of worked out. So.
All right, well, this is the last game then. At this point, like, what were you thinking, man? What's going through your head?
I was so nervous. Like, I don't usually get nervous because I've been to a lot of tournaments, but like this was the first time I was like playing on a stage in grand finals. I've only won like Wednesday Night Fight weeklies at this point, so like I never had a big win at a major. So I was definitely feeling it, but at the same time, like this was actually the tournament where Immortal joined. And I always felt like if I can get Immortal out of the way, I'm definitely gonna win the tournament. Because like I don't know, I feel like he fucked me up pretty bad. But then luckily Jiggly Norris took him out in loser's side.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The moment that happened, I literally grabbed Silent Scope and Tanya next to me and said, "Oh my god, guys, I'm gonna win! I'm gonna win! I'm gonna win this tournament!" And so yeah, I felt like this is like the moment for me. Like I have to win this. Like all the cards kind of lined up for me to win this. Not that Alex Vi is a bad player, but like I know he hates this matchup. It's a very good matchup for Dalsum. So like, as long as I do my shit, like I should be all right.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of Ryu Dalsum lately as well, I feel like, but Valle played really good, especially if you compare it to like how he played against Walmart and TOL1. I think he was completely out of his element, but here Valle played like, you know, basically as good as you can actually play the match. But yeah, you were also on point. Like, damn, look at that jump in.
I know.
Yeah, Valle was on his stuff, man. You're over here like, bro, I don't want no bracket reset. I'm trying to win.
Yo, that is absolutely what I thought. I was like, oh my god, the more we play, the more Valle gets warmed up and gets used to my style. Like, I have to beat him now. Like, if we reset, he might possibly win this. So, like, I was feeling nervous a little bit here, but I don't know. Kind of worked out for me in the end. Yeah, I'm playing so cautious right now. I'm, like, not hitting buttons and shit.
Yeah, it looked like you missed the drill there, but...
Oh, good low pro.
Oh, yo, he did rush nothing. Oh, there it goes.
Oh,
yeah.
thank God he jumped. Yeah, I threw my stick. I never throw my stick, but I was so hyped.
Nah, that's an awesome moment, man.
I was feeling it. But yeah, that was a great tournament. I highly recommend anyone to check out Combo Breaker. It's like one of my favorite majors in the U.S. I think the Hodo and the staff do extremely well. They do good work. Like again, it felt like a more grassroots version of Evo, like much more closer knit and all that kind of stuff. It was dope.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the bigger tournaments, especially for ST in terms of like number of entrants that you get and like yeah, a lot of talent did come out for that one too. So it was a hype grand finals, and you know you took out one of the goats. You took out Valle, and then well, if we were to keep watching the video, you guys would find that meme once more with the. With the tongue thing or whatever. I'm like, what the hell is that?
I don't know what I was doing. I was feeling so good. I don't know what I was doing.
All right, I guess while we're watching your videos, let's go ahead and watch this one too. This is actually going to be from my Twitch page because it's not on YouTube yet. But it's another Dalsum Ryu match. I just think it's because this was so nutty, and with the commentary, it's just, I'm always cracking up. So this was the last match with you against Enforcer.
Is this is not grand, right? This is brackets.
Nah, this is grand.
Oh, you're right. $500. Okay, yeah. Yeah, he was playing well that day, and I was like having a tough time adjusting to his jump-ins. I still had a tough time.
I mean, this is gonna bring up like the next topic actually that I wanted to go over, which is like online versus offline. Because you're someone who definitely was not about the online life at all. And I remember, I think maybe it was Carl who was like, "Yeah, you're gonna try to get Eugene play online. Good luck." What? But now you're always down. So
why'd you jump, you idiot?
Yeah, why'd you jump? But yeah, tell me your thoughts about like online, offline.
I mean, they haven't really changed all that much throughout the years. I feel like online, especially with Fight Kid 2, is like a very viable platform to like learn the game, improve, get better, play good competition from all around the region, all around the world. It is slightly different just because, you know, there's lag and all that kind of stuff. I find it's harder to react to certain things I'm used to reacting to offline. So I'm kind of struggling with that at the moment. But like, I always look to like Afro Legends as like an inspiration. Like that guy can play online, offline. Like it doesn't matter. Like he just plays wherever he can just to get better and play the best players he can possibly play. And clearly it works for him. So, and definitely the Mexico scene as well have leveled up pretty much primarily playing online. And now they're all incredible. Like online, offline, doesn't matter to them. So it's definitely a viable platform. Crazy. I know, dude. I love your guys commentating. Like Anthony was going high. He was like, "What? Wow, yo, wow." Dude, that scramble made no sense. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I don't know, hit jab, it's safe, just do it. I was like, alright, it worked.
Dude, that was one of the hypest matches of the year, and I don't care if it's online, offline, whatever. Like, that was hype. That's ST. Shit just gets scrambly, and kind of like the stronger player in the moment is the one who walks out of it with just like cuts and bruises and not like death.
I mean, I'm glad you guys were entertained. It was so stressful for me. Because I'm pretty sure, like, most of my matchups, I kept going, like, down 0-2. Like, I would just lose my first 2 games very easily. And then somehow, some way, I just, like, managed to get the 3-0 and win the set. But, like, it was funny, like, about halfway through the loser's bracket, I felt like the spirit of the lore blessed me. I was like, bro, like, wouldn't it be insane if you kept going 0-2 and just kept winning and then won the tournament?
Well, that's why like the tournament life is so different from casuals or grinding. Like let's say we had a grudge match, so first to 20, it's still different from tournament. Anything can happen. Even if like the winners are usually the same names, it's like it's never free for them. Or they got sent to loser's bracket, or there was an upset somewhere in there, and maybe if you played slightly more clutch, you could have won it, or whatever it is. So, yeah, tournaments are they're super unpredictable. I mean, we just had the Mascherino Cup, and yeah, like Hokuto was the favorite going in, but how a lot of the sets ended up being, I mean, Andy Ma in the second round was up 2-0, for example. He could have sent Hokuto to losers. Ito could have sent Hokuto to losers. Fromo could have sent Hokuto to losers. But what ended up happening is, What ended up happening is when Fromo got sent to losers, it just so happened he got paired up against X64, X64 Honda. But then X64 didn't have to fight Frijoles. He fought Roy Bizzle because he stepped out, and so all these the random factor of tournament and just the in the moment stuff. Anything can happen, and that's the coolest part about Super Turbo tournaments to me.
Yeah, for sure. It's like the drama of the event, right? Like the storylines that get created. Dreams are like made and broken in tournaments. That's why everyone like tunes into tournaments. That's why everyone wants to play in tournaments. It's always a great way to like test yourself, but also like you can never be 100% sure what's going to happen in those brackets. It's insane.
Yeah. So
it's nutty.
Again, for anyone who hasn't entered any of these online tournaments, just do it. Just like whatever. You'll have fun. You'll learn something. Maybe you might surprise yourself, and you keep doing it, you get the experience, and then you can do the upsets in the brackets, or you can get close to winning, or even winning one of those kind of tournaments. So yeah, that would be my advice to everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
We didn't talk too much about Japan apart from Nagoya. I don't know if you had any like specific story that you want to share on like something that helped you get better as a player, or a community thing. Let's hear some more lore from you.
I don't know. There's a lot to like talk about Japan. It's just a very different environment. Like as far as playing Super Turbo, like obviously they have very amazing setups and like cool game centers to go to, and a lot of strong players. But I think for me, like playing in Japan makes you realize how different the game is played at a high level. Like I don't know. It feels like in the US, we're pretty used to like playing a lot of players who are like, not like die-hard competitors, but they're kind of like fans of the game they want to support, and it's fine. And you might meet like a handful of players in the brackets. But like in Japan, again, it's like everyone is strong. Like you can't like sandbag anybody. You gotta like play at your best just to stay on the machines and keep playing. But also like they play at an extremely fast pace, I notice, compared to most American players. Like American players like to like kind of like play neutral, kind of bait and feint and all that kind of stuff. But like I feel like in Japan, like they kind of dedicate themselves to whatever they decide they're gonna do. And so there's like no hesitation. Like if they're gonna walk up throw, they're gonna walk up throw. If they're gonna throw a fireball, they're gonna throw a fireball. If they're gonna walk up poke, they're gonna walk up poke, and like not even think twice about it. They're just gonna do it. So I felt like the first time I played in Japan, like it's hard getting used to like that pace and that rhythm. It just feels like they're playing the game much faster than everyone else is. I think that's pretty cool.
That's actually a really interesting analogy. My way of describing that same phenomenon is like they play without thinking, which is why there's no hesitation. because they've seen it all. So like you said, like American players are trying to get in the range where they can whiff punish something, but Japan, they're more committed to, all right, this is the time I'm gonna press the button, or like I'll be even closer in their face, or I'll do that throw, or I'll do that DP, and that's why they can get a typically, Japanese, or more often than not, will get that result because there's no hesitation in their movement. It's already been, like, the decision's already made while we're like thinking about it. You'll definitely experience that firsthand when you go to Japan to play the Japanese players. I pretty much felt the same thing. I'm like, how are they so ahead? Like, why is the game faster right now? Like, why do I feel so sluggish? And that's when you have to like start playing and eliminate the thought process, or eliminate the thinking, and just go more into like feeling the game, or I guess how Damned I would put it, achieving flow. But yeah, it's cool that it's pretty much the same thing, but just in different words, I think, like your experience.
I always tell people, it's like, it feels like you're a character in Dragon Ball Z, like you're Yamcha, and you're feeling pretty good. You're doing pretty, you're scrapping it out with Goku and Krillin and Master Roshi, and then like the Saiyans arrive on Earth, and you're like, what am I even doing anymore? Like,
yeah,
that's what it feels like. Like they're just playing on a whole different planet than the rest of us are, and it's just really cool, like seeing how much higher the mountaintop of Super Turbo goes when you like experience that for yourself in Japan. Yeah.
That's damn. Thanks for bringing back another Dragon Ball analogy. We haven't done one of those in a hot minute, so
always happy to do so.
All right, so you were referenced a few episodes previously by Atari and possibly a few others regarding like the role that you played in bringing them into the community and what you were doing for STR Revival. So if you can just tell us about STR, what you did, what you're doing now, and the current status of Super Turbo Revival.
So Super Turbo Revival was basically like a ragtag group of like TOs from 2012 era who like decided to come together and like try to make Super Turbo into a bigger event than what it was. Because, and this is like just sort of like a secondhand account for like various conversations with TOs and Kuropi. Apparently 2011 was the first year that EVO was not going to have Super Turbo of any form at EVO. So like not Super Turbo, not HDR, not a console port, nothing. And so they ran like a Casino Cup kind of tournament at EVO that year, kind of like a high roller tournament. But then like after that, they were kind of like just kind of brainstorming and thinking like Super Turbo deserves like a higher level of tournament beyond just, some random side tournament or the weeklies that happen all over the place. So basically Kuropi and Galley and a bunch of others kind of got together and brainstormed the idea to like have this big like invitational tournament where it was an open format. Like you had to win a qualifier to go. And so you'll do that like all over the US and whatever. At the same time, like you could probably like invite a bunch of Japanese players and like have them join us and play in our tournaments, which has happened before at like various tournaments and EVOs, but never on like a large scale specifically for Super Turbo. And like, of course, like there was some outreach to the European scene about seeing about who they can send over. And so basically that's how TOL 1 got started, which is basically the same time that I kind of entered the scene, so to speak. And it was funny because at the time I felt like, damn, like I missed my shot. Like I should have gone to the scene like in 2007, 2008, so that I can like get good enough. And by the time I get good enough, I'll be able to like join TOL 1 qualifiers, all that kind of stuff. So basically that's pretty much the mission statement of STR, was to hold like a weekly event where they could bring something new to the table to the Super Turbo community that hasn't been done at all or much before. And so that's pretty much the premise of how TOL Tournament of Legends 1, 2, and 3 came about, as well as ST Games in 2013, which is kind of meant to be like the Olympics of ST, where you would have 4 different events with different rule sets, and then you see who was the best player. And so that's pretty much what STR did, as well as guys like Yoga Boy and Brendan, I forgot his handle, Evan
Hanasu?
Sugewa, Hanasu, yeah, whatever you want to call him. They were, and Zaspacer as well. They were sort of like in charge of like the journalistic side as well as Kuropi. And like Zaspacer had StreetFighterDojo.com where you could go like watch like match footage and like find specific matchups that you want to see. You can just go there and like as a reference page and find a match. And yeah, that's what they did for a while. And then around TOL2, pretty much everyone sort of like just burned out and just wanted to retire from the whole TO thing. And so effectively they disbanded. I know on the journal side, like Yoga Boy and Brendan were still holding it down for a little while. But pretty much they were just gonna like stop doing stuff. And so like as far as my role, I never had like an official role in it. Like I was down to help out, I could commentate, I could run brackets, all that kind of stuff. But really like how I became a TO and did all these other roles in the community was primarily because like we needed to have it done in SoCal. And so I was like, well, I'll figure it out and I'll do it myself. And basically like Muffin Man got me into that. He's the one who like got me used to like running brackets and learning like more of the TO/production side of it all. And then later on, of course, working with like Ashes and the Shirotosaurus and Arcadium, like learn more of the stream side of it and like how you can't run a tournament the same when you have a stream than when you don't have a stream, and like learning how that works along with like, you know, social media stuff, like promoting your events and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, like I never count myself officially as part of the STR group. I was just some guy who like hung out. I was like a groupie basically. And so that's what I did. And then like yeah, after TOL2 was over, I was like, well, at the very least I should like just like run Evo tournaments, right? Because I feel like Super Turbo should always be at Evo. So I ran Evo tournaments for Super Turbo for 3 or 4 years, just to keep the community going, just to have something that people can like play in and enjoy as a fan, as a spectator, as a player. And then pretty much around 2018 is when I got burned out from doing the TO stuff, because this TO stuff takes a lot out of your personal life and time. I don't know if you've gotten to that point. I hope you don't.
No, I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I can see, because there's like a lot of like I think the networking part, and like one thing can't move forward until someone else confirms that this thing can happen. So there's a lot of like follow up for that. But most of what I'm doing is online, so it's easier than what you have to do.
Yeah, it's tough working with a lot of different like personalities, and like not even within the Super Turbo community, but like the FGC in general. Like it can be hard working with different TOs who have like egos or personalities or requirements or whatever. And I got a little bit of a taste of that, but not as bad as Kuropi. So basically, I know when like Super Turbo, when Kuropi was gonna step down, that they were gonna pass the mantle to Damdai, I guess, originally.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, like we had this whole thing where like Matsun gave his blessing that Damdai become the next ordained, I don't know, prophet or whatever it is. But that kind of fell through. And so like I was like, okay, well, if no one's gonna do it, I'll just like do it myself, whatever. So yeah, that's what I did for a little bit. But like doing stuff like Wednesday night fights every single Wednesday, and like those tournaments were run like late into the night, pretty much ruined my like Thursday. And then like on the weekends I would do tournaments, and that, you know, that got expensive trying to do the logistics on that end. So I got kind of burned out in 2018. But yeah, I had some plans to do tournaments this year, but obviously thanks to COVID it kind of fell through. So I'm not completely retired from the TO lifestyle. I've definitely taken a step back and reprioritized my life and focus more on family, work stuff, all kind of stuff. So yeah, that's my history with STR.
Well, let's just say you had a perfect balance. And first off, thanks for, you know, all the effort that you did put into STR. I think like everyone knew like Kuropi was in charge, but as far as maybe like community manager, it was like you and Tanya, right? Like you guys are the people management part, or at least from my perspective, it was, you know, if you had a question about anything, you go to those guys. I don't know if that's
yeah. No, yeah, that was pretty much how it is. Like, if anything, we're like kind of the ambassadors of ST.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, you guys were like the ambassadors for that front. But my question was going to be, if you had a perfect like work-life balance and we didn't have COVID and all that stuff, how can I phrase this? Which role in the ST community do you feel like you'd be best suited for? Or would you just try to do it all as far as like TO, commentary, competing? Like right now, today, if you had to make a decision, how would you allocate your like responsibility?
That's a hard one. I mean, usually I just do it all myself, and Tanya gets on me all the time saying like, you cannot do it by yourself. Like, you need people to help you. So I've been struggling with that. So I probably will not be a TO, even though like I don't mind doing it, but I could definitely see how it would like burn me out, and like I would get tired of it and frustrated. So like if I had to like really specifically choose a role for me, I would just be primarily a player and a commentator. I really like commentating, and I've worn a lot of different hats doing the Super Turbo stuff, and like by far my favorite one was commentating, just because one, like, this might be surprising to some, but like I'm actually like super introverted in my real life stuff. Like, I don't really talk to people. I don't really socialize all too much. Like, I have a group of friends, but like we don't even hang out that much. We just like kind of talk and play like online games every now and then. But like I feel like commentary for me kind of lets me like open up my personality and like express myself more and like connect with people, as well as like being able to like have the best seat in the house to like watch really dope Super Turbo and all that kind of stuff. And plus, like I think it's a fun challenge trying to like keep people entertained but not be like fake about it, like YouTuber fake, like overly enthusiastic when you clearly are not. But also being like technical and like trying to explain like the game mechanics and why things work and player psychology, but also be accommodating to like new players or like new fans of Super Turbo who just tuned in, don't know anything about the game, but for whatever reason they're just watching, and try to break down like what makes Super Turbo amazing, what makes the community amazing. And so for me, like balancing those three pillars of commentary, as I call them, is like a really fun, interesting challenge to do as far as like making a production. So I enjoy that the most, as well as being a player, obviously, because it's really fun playing and fighting players that you've never played, and fighting guys like you, fighting guys like Damdai, Afro Legends, like really strong players that like really challenge me to become better than what I am now, and like exposing all the things that's like wrong with my gameplay, and like trying to like figure out ways to improve on that. So yeah, that's probably how I choose my ST life if I had to do it over.
All right, so moral of the story is, when we do start having tournaments again, please do not let Eugene be the TO. He's already expressed his interest in playing and doing the commentary, so that means we have to, pick up some of the slack and take on some of that responsibility. I too, like, I've never done any TOing. I've obviously like helped with stuff, but I never like, took care of a whole tournament apart from just now starting with online. But definitely when things get better, I want to take on that challenge to see how efficient a tournament can be run and how fun will it be for everyone, and what the environment's going to look like, and try not to do commentary / compete. But yeah, that's like one of my goals now. I'm really interested in that perspective of supporting the SC scene. Yeah, for me previously, it was first always about playing. Like, I just wanted to play. It's like, I don't care, I just want to play. And somehow, commentary happened, which actually I remember TOL 1, you did commentary.
Yeah, so that was my first Evo, my first big Super Turbo tournament. But like I had done commentary for IE Battlegrounds, aka Mondo, who's kind of doing the Wednesday night fights and all that kind of stuff, and also helping out with like a few of the qualifiers and streaming. And he was a really good streamer on the production side. But that's kind of when I first got bit by the commentary bug, and I really wanted to do it more often. And like at TOL 1, I was not a very strong player. Like, I played in all the qualifiers, I played in the last chance qualifier. I didn't do that well, but I figured like at the very least I can like just kind of like get involved and like commentate and kind of, I don't know, at least just try it out and like help. I didn't think I was a very good commentator at the time, but like I wanted to like just help people out and just do my part, so to speak. So yeah, that's how I got.
I remember it being quite hype, and I think commentary is not easy, and oftentimes people go on the mic and they don't really have an interest in the game. I feel like they'll just go on and just start rambling about stuff, and that's not like real commentary. I think the way that you and Josh did it for the last Canada Cup was like really good commentary. You guys went in all esports to your suits and stuff, and talked about like the players' histories and like the matchups and whatever. That's like good stuff. That's what people need if they want to get into ST. So yeah, like I wish more people would get into commentary if they take it seriously. I'm having a lot of fun doing it now, even though it ends up being 90% puns and 10%. I'll try to drop the knowledge when I can, but mostly I just want it to be fun. So.
Yeah, it's all good. Like that's your style. Like, as important it is to like develop your style as a player, same goes with commentary. Like you really have to find your niche and just stick with it. Like you mentioned, like a lot of guys just hop on the mic and like, they don't know what they're talking about. They just want attention, or like they're trying to be like Yipes, but like no one can be Yipes. Only Yipes can be Yipes, right?
Yes,
so like if you're serious about it, you got to find what you're good at and just do that, and just like try to work with the chemistry of working with different commentators. As far as like TOL 3, like I felt like we did pretty good commentary, despite the fact that like, me and Josh don't really know each other that well, but like we're cool with each other, right? Like there's no like animosity. We've like hung out before. It was all good. But I remember like before we went live, like I think that might have been the first time Josh like commentated on like a professional station with all that kind of production value. And then before we went live, like I looked over to Josh and I see him just sort of like looking down and like kind of like taking deep breaths. Like,
he didn't want to fuck up.
Yeah, and like I could tell like he was nervous, and like I'm not used to seeing Josh like that at all. Like usually he's just sort of like calm and collected and just doing stuff. But yeah, like I could tell he was like getting really nervous. Like, oh damn, like he's nervous. Like, we gotta make sure we're like good and we're on point and all that kind of stuff. But no, it worked out really well. Like we had pretty good chem, and like both he and I both have a lot of history and knowledge of the game, both as a player and like just being in the community a long time. And so yeah, I got a lot of positive feedback from that TOL3 thing. So I'm glad that happened, but I do want to see more of it, because I think another reason why I got into commentary is because there weren't a lot of good commentators at all. It was like just James Chen and like a handful of other people, but I felt like the Super Turbo community needed more dedicated guys who know what they're talking about and take the craft seriously, and so they can, have good commentary on stream. So that's a challenge that I gave to myself, and I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad you're enjoying it and you're getting more into it, as well as the TO side. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you're gonna do for the community from here on out.
I'm gonna start losing my hair, but just talking about commentary one more time. That was what was exceptional about Tournament of Legends 1, the top 8. Actually, the two commentators were James Chen and Ultra David, which at that time was like, oh my god, the most awesome SC commentators you can ever get.
Was it Ultra David? I thought it was Seth Killian. Oh, I'm crazy then.
TOL1. No, TOL1 top 8.
Right,
it was
right. Yeah.
But it was just like, man, this is like perfect. Because I remember, even then, like I played Ultra David a little bit at that Evo or at another tournament, just casuals. He was playing his old Honda and whatnot. I was just like, yeah, like these are two guys that really care about the game, and wanted to commentate this. And that kind of made me think about commentary for a little bit. Like, what would I say? And maybe commentary for me started at like Too Old or just whatever. I would just be chilling and just like talk smack or or like just try to like articulate on the match. But it wasn't until Atari asked me to do commentary with James Chen at Canada Cup. Like, all right, and we got to do the whole top 8, and it was dope. Like, I can't believe I'm doing commentary with James Chen. And I was also like, Josh, I don't want to mess this up. But just natural, just chill out and try to talk about the game and be hype. So yeah, I hope you also keep doing commentary. even if it's on these online tournaments, if you want to hop in for commentary, just let me know. We can still make it hype. So
yeah, I know. I'm always down to help, man. If you need help with any of that stuff, just let me know. Just hit me up.
But if you're playing, if you're competing, then nah, because I want you to focus on the game. Honestly, it's really hard to divide your attention like between all those things. It's not like the quality of everything gets compromised. It's just natural. I mean, usually I'd say we're talking about commentary for a long time, but last note on this, like the Makiri Cup finals. Damned, I actually did commentary like 90% of the time, and I think he showed a lot of people that he can actually talk about the game, and he was explaining stuff. He was talking about people's tendencies, and anytime it was his turn to play, he goes, "All right, I'm gonna go play my game now." But a lot of players don't do that. A lot of players I just gotta focus on my match. Like I can't do anything else.
Right.
It's hard to juggle them, but I don't know. Commentary is also rewarding too. So yeah, if there's anyone out there who considered doing commentary and you haven't done it for your locals or for your online tournament or whatever, just try, and I don't know, maybe you might have fun.
No, it's definitely a good time, and plus, like I said, it gives you the best seat in the house to watch the matches. But as far as commentating and playing, I really enjoy doing both at the same, not at the same time, but alternating one after another. Just because sometimes you need a break as a player, just kind of reset, calm down. And I think commentary kind of helps you get back in that mindset, just give you kind of like a mental break. And then when you gotta go, it's after a while you know how to switch gears and just be like, okay, it's time to go to work and become a player again.
Yeah,
you have to do that a lot when you're a TO. When you're TOing your own tournaments, you tend to focus in on your own tournament and not care how you play as a player, but you kind of get used to it after a while. So yeah, you can definitely practice at it and get better at it, but definitely give commentary a shot if you guys can. It's really dope. It's really fun. It's a cool way to get involved and talk shit with your friends and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. And mostly it's going to be when the matches are hyped, your commentary elevates. So you're going to get hype matches regardless because it's ST. So I mean, just even that example of your match versus Enforcer, the commentary is not even English anymore at that point. We're just making sound effects, but that shit is hype. Anyway, all right, so moving on, we can talk about the Tomo chapter. So pretty much SoCal's graced with, a god from Japan, pretty much, Tomo. How did that change ST for you guys?
Well, I think for us, it kind of it was really cool having a new player in the scene who's from Japan, obviously, and a very strong player. But he'll have a different set of insight than the rest of us, just because he grew up playing Super Turbo in a very different place and environment than the rest of us. And it felt really special because we knew from the beginning that he was only going to be here for about a year or so, just from the way his education was going. And so we felt okay, well, we gotta hype it up and do weeklies and majors and all that kind of stuff, and at least give Tomo as well as the community the opportunity to see what kind of player he is and what he brings to the table. And I think that first SCR really set the tone for how the rest of that year was gonna go when he played in his first offline tournament. He's not used to playing on super guns and a portable stick. He doesn't really like it, but he'll play it because it's Super Turbo and he loves the game. And then he won SoCal regionals that year, beating Afro Legends, Ryu versus his DJ versus his boxer, all that kind of stuff. And so I think that created a moment of hype just because no one's seen Afro lose in a long time. Normally Afro just shows up and wins because it's Afro. But the fact that he does bleed, he is vulnerable, I think was interesting to a lot of people. And so we kind of kept that going throughout and just kind of having a lot of weekly tournaments with Tomo and all that. And I definitely think having Afro and Tomo coming out to Wednesday night fights definitely encouraged some other people to show up as well. So for a good while, we had some pretty good numbers for Wednesday night fights, 18, 20 people. On some nights, it'd be 30 people, depending on who's in town, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it was a very good moment for SoCal. It was a good moment for me and Afro, because we had this third extra person that we can kind of play off of and learn the matchup. So yeah, it was a great moment, and I miss Tomo. We all do. We all wish him well, and he's doing well back in Japan right now. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, how crazy would it be if, while I was in New York, like, we had, you know, Tomo or a Tomo level player come by, and now we're able to play every week. But all in all, it was still really good for the U.S. because, like you said, like Afro was more hungry, or the hungriest he'd been in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he was consistently playing. After that, he beat 3 Japanese players at Spring Series, right? Didn't he?
Yep.
He beat Matsun, Murasaki, and Yaya all like back to back. Like, what the hell, dude? And that's all from just the hunger of having practiced at Tomo. So yeah, I mean that's a level up right there. In NorCal, we had Kamada for a little bit, even though he's not like a super high level player. Like, to be able to practice with them would have been awesome. But then I don't know. I guess things came up, and then COVID, and so now we're just not going to play.
Oh, that's a bummer. Because like I want to like go up there and like meet you guys and have like another SoCal NorCal thing going. And I've never played against Kamada, so it'd be cool to meet him and see what kind of Ryu he is. But,
yeah, I mean he's pretty solid. Like he's a pretty solid Ryu player, and it's still good to help you like fine tune like tendencies. Like, so maybe in the US, you're not going to get punished if you miss a safe jump. You know, they're not going to hit the reversal DP every time, but against a Japanese player, even like Kamada, yeah, if you miss that cross, or if you miss a safe jump, if you jump too late, you're going to get uppercut. Or if you threw the fireball at the wrong time, he's going to shinku through. And so playing like that level of a player consistently while you're at home or in your home ground helps you, you know, level up, because now you're like, all right, in order for me to, you know, have a higher win ratio, I have to not press this button when he has meter, or, you know, if I can't consistently safe jump, I just go for the guaranteed block string, or like guaranteed, you know, chip fireball, or whatever it is based on your character. And so playing with like that level of a player helps you do that. I don't know. I think Tomo really helped shape Afro into a much stronger player. Like, he became a super crazy beast after that year. And Afro was already really good.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't know, like playing those guys is like all the minutia of the match, like all those small details, like they become like super important in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, you're able to get away with less like mistakes and major errors, and like you really gotta like learn how to tighten up and all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool playing a player of that caliber that really exposes like even your like small weaknesses in your game become huge deals. And because you can see that now, you know how to like improve as a player, things you need to work on, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, cool.
Sometimes it's the smallest thing. But anyhow, all right, I just have a couple more questions, and then after that we can run through community stuff. It doesn't mean that this is the end of the podcast, because I'm going to give you the stage to talk about anything else I might not have mentioned. Maybe it might lead to potential more questions, but just a few things I wanted to ask. Are you aware of how many tournaments you've entered?
No, not at all. A lot, I know that, but I done lost count long ago. I just go.
All right, how many countries have you competed in ST?
Countries. That was easier. Compete at ST. America, Canada, Japan, France. So 4.
All right, how many states?
Well, no, I played in Taiwan for Street Fighter 4, so I guess 5. I guess that counts.
Shit. All right, how many states in the U.S. have you played ST?
Oh, oof.
That's a good one, right?
California, Illinois, New York. Did I go up north? No. Texas. Is it only 4? Vegas. I think 5.
CEO? No.
No, I've never been to CEO.
Right.
That's one of the last tournaments I haven't been to. I actually want to go one of these days.
Okay. All right. Dang. All right. So you were able to count them. How many interviews have you done for ST? I don't know who has more, you or Damdai, but I think you do.
There's no way. I'm pretty sure it's Damdai. Interviews, written and spoken. I don't have a running list. I'd say like 6 or so, something like that.
I feel like you're the most interviewed player, and like I just remember like, oh, so and so, we're getting, ElTrouble on this podcast or that podcast, and I'm like, what? Like, I'm not even on Twitter, and I'm getting these notifications.
Yeah, so, I don't know how you're getting notifications, but yeah,
all the word comes to me. So,
oh, okay, Mr. Popular, I see you.
Nah, just basically the word spread. So I always, like, at one point I felt like every month there's someone interviewing you about ST.
No,
damn that it's up there too. But I want to say if we made like an interview tier list, I'm pretty sure you're like S tier.
I don't know about that. I mean, if I am, it's a very narrow margin. So
hey, man, after this podcast, you're definitely gonna be S tier for interviews. So, all right, how about what's your favorite matchup?
That was kind of tough. I don't know. I mean, it's probably an obvious answer. I really like fighting Honda. Obviously, because I fought Tanya so much that I really feel like Honda is like a match where it's not like horrible for Honda. I think it's 6-4 for Dalsum, but like if you're not on point, Honda will easily roll you. And I know that matchup extremely well. Like me and Tanya have played so much. We've broken it down in so many different ways. Like even playing like better Hondas than Tanya, like Kusamundos and Shogatsus, like I'm never surprised by what they do. I just appreciate like the way they wish they do it, the timing, but like I know the matchup so well. Like I don't know, it's a really fun challenge trying to keep Honda away and trying to anticipate their next move and try to stay on point and all that kind of stuff. So I like doing that. And also I had a pretty fun set against Kusamundo at TOL 3. We had like an after hours set, and like it was pretty cool because like we were doing like first to threes or whatever, and like everyone was just trying to challenge each other. And I was just trying to chill, have fun, play casual, just watch. But like Kusamundo specifically wanted to challenge me first to 3. I thought that was a pretty cool moment for me. Like, oh, like he thinks I'm worthy of being challenged. That's kind of dope. So yeah, I like fighting Honda a lot. I like fighting Claw a lot actually, just because I feel like it's a really fun, dynamic matchup, and like I have to like figure out ways to like get in on Claw, get my noogie loops and mix-ups going. And if I don't, he destroys me. But I like how dynamic that match is, how like I have to rely a lot more on movement and guest pokes and all that kind of stuff, more so than like raw zoning, because you can't really zone Claw. So like you have to figure out like the angles I wish to attack him and like how he wants to handle it, how defensive he wants to be, how much he wants to move. But yeah, pretty much any match short of like the completely bad ones I enjoy playing. I think it's one reason why I like playing Sims so much, is that all his matchups are so different and unique and varied. I don't know, I just have fun playing the characters. I just like all the matchups. Mine's like fighting like a Zangief, which is kind of boring and not very interesting for anyone.
It's like Yoga Fire, Stand Roundhouse, or Stand Fierce.
Yeah, it's so like brain dead flowchart. Like it doesn't even feel good winning. Like I'll play Ant, who I will admit is like a super good Zangief player and like likely a better player than I am, but because the matchup is so lopsided, like I'll just destroy him because like that matchup is garbage butt cheeks. It's just very uninteresting. Like no one wins. Like I feel bad doing it. The Zangief hates me. Like no one's a winner in that matchup. It's just dumb. Like it's horrible.
You sound like me right now.
No, like there are some dumb matchups in the game. That's definitely one of them, is fighting Zangief with Dalsum.
Yeah, I think just with Claw as well, like that's probably one of Sim's harder matchups. So yeah, I can see why that'd be fun. And then Dalsum has like the slide to go under Scarlet Terror and Noogie Trap. When you mentioned Honda, I thought about, I think it was at the first Canada Cup that had ST, where I think you got to fight Thello for top 8. And, And I think Thello was just doing butt slams that you were trying to punish with slide, and that doesn't work. So maybe at that time you weren't like fully confident with the Honda match. But the most recent time I saw you play Honda was actually at Spring Series, the qualifier against Tanya. I think the score was 3-1, you beat her, but it was exactly what you said, where clearly like you guys had an understanding of every button and the timing for everything. It's just a matter of like who made the right decision at the time. So I felt like there was a night and day between that Canada Cup and then the Spring Series qualifier. So I can see why you really enjoyed the match. I think you took it to the lab. You're like, I got to figure out all the stuff, and you're hitting all the anti-airs and stuff. I mean, does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. But I personally think like I didn't play that well against Dello. I'm pretty salty about that one. I even at that time, like, I felt like I knew the matchup well enough where I should have beaten him, but he got the better of me that day. And yeah, I don't know, that burns a deep hole in my heart of salt. Well, I feel like I should have beat him, but yeah, he's beat me that day.
To be fair, he did play like he placed really far in that tournament. I think he lost 3-2 against Kusamundo, right? Wasn't it like super close to the last round or some shit?
Yeah, it was a close one. I remember that one.
Yeah. So he could have just been having a hot day. But all right, that's cool. How about your favorite player?
Favorite player?
Is it gonna be Jayon because you absorbed his color?
I mean, I do like Jayon. It's funny because like I think a big reason why Matsun like likes me is because like I remind him of Jayon, like a not as good Jayon. I'm pretty sure that's the reason, because like the first time I played Matsun, like we were just playing casuals at TOL 2, and like I didn't know who was playing. It's a head-to-head setup. I'm just playing casuals, whatever. And then I fight a Cammy, and then I beat the Cammy. It's like, all right, whatever, it's Cammy, who cares? And then I see Bernie, like Bernie from Vegas, who brings a lot of the caps and setups. I see him like on the other side of the setups, and he's like kind of like winking at me and like getting really excited. I'm like what the hell? Like, it's Cammy. Like, Cammy's dumb. It's like, no, like that's Matsun. Like, you beat Matsun. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I beat Matsun, but that's a secondary character. Who cares? And then like I played as Ken, and then I beat as Ken. And then Bernie's like getting really excited right now. He's like, oh shit. I was like, oh damn, like sick.
He's winking
like,
at you some more.
Yeah, he's like blinking real hard and shit at me. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then yeah, like and then Matsun beat me pretty bad after that. But like later on, like we were playing casuals at the Salty Suite, and we're just like playing, having fun or whatever. And like Matsun doesn't know great English. I didn't know that much Japanese at the time. And then like we were talking, and then he was like, he kind of mimed out like, I like the way you play it, like it's kind of like Jayon, like similar to Jayon. So that was like a big personal moment for me, because like I think like Jayon was a major influence on how I played Dalsum. A lot of guys influenced it. I tell everyone my Dalsum sensei is YouTube, because that's all I ever did to learn Dalsum, because like I don't have a Dalsum near me. I don't know how to play this character, but like I would go online and do my research. I would look at matches from Afrocole, Alex Wolf, John Rambo, Jayon Hakase, KKY, etc, etc, etc. And so like I kind of like build my playstyle around watching what they do, trying it, and then if it doesn't work, try something else. That's kind of basically how I develop my own playstyle. So yeah, Jayon. Anyways, but favorite player of all time? I don't know. That's a hard one. That's a hard one to call. Like, Afro's the most winningest, but I don't know. As a player who does the, I don't know. I'll say Matsun, just because I like the way he plays. Like how dedicated he is to his play style, and how like he plays the way he wants to play, which is very flashy, and he will commit to that play style. So like, win or lose, it doesn't matter. He wants to play the way he plays. He wins, cool. If not, like, he wants to express himself the highest way he can, which is doing like cool mix-ups and fancy combos. But also, like, I like the way he like physically like how
he presses the buttons.
Yeah, like it's like he's playing piano. Like it's like a thing of beauty. It's gorgeous. Like I want to do that. That's like half the reason why I like triple tap and double tap and do all these crazy extra things I have to do. But just because it's fun, like I just do it.
You do all this stuff, and the only thing you see is Dalsum stand fierce come out.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't have the execution, but it will look like I do.
Well, you do when you do the short slide super though. That's thug life.
It is, but like I have a limited amount of those per day, so I gotta spend them wisely. You know what I'm saying? That's honestly like that's why I go for it so often against you whenever I have it. I know I'm gonna do it. You're gonna block it, but like I don't care. I just want to do it just to prove I can do it. I know like for a tournament it's the wrong move, but I just want to get it over with and just.
You gotta get those out of your system and then do all the optimal stuff after.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just want to do it to like make myself feel better about life, and then I can just play SE some more optimally. But I gotta go for it.
Well, I was gonna say it's interesting about Jion because he's also like commentator, TO player. So and he picks Dawson same color. So he's like you're the American counterpart of Jion, actually.
I guess I didn't think about that actually. Huh.
Yeah, he kind of does it all. So maybe I don't know if at that time you were TOing hard and Matsu knew about it. He goes, "Oh yeah, he is Jion." You know what I mean? Like maybe
I don't know.
Maybe he saw something else.
Maybe, but like I always tell people, like Matsu's kind of like a cat. He'll just like you or not like you arbitrarily based on nothing at all. He just has this feeling about you. He senses an aura about you.
Yeah, I mean, he saw it in Makiri, he saw it in Matsu, and I'm pretty sure he saw it in. He saw it in himself. I meant to say, damn guy.
He definitely saw it himself. Yeah.
Yeah, he saw it. He looked in the mirror. He goes, "This guy's gonna be the best purple Ken." But I mean, he sees things in people, and he brings the best out of them. So, yeah, shout out to Matsu. How about? Well, as you know, this is gonna be, at the end of this season. But if we're going to move on to season 2, who would you like to hear from?
Oh, so many guys. I'm pretty sure a lot of them you already have lined up anyways. But I would definitely love to get the old school crew, the OGs, guys like James Chen, John Choi, Watson, Valle. It'd be cool to get them. Even like Arturo. It'd be really cool to like have his insight into Super Turbo, and like he's been around the scene forever, so I'm sure he has like hella stories from way back in the day, Eddie Lee stories and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. It'd be cool to get Justin Wong, even though he isn't like the biggest Super Turbo head. Like he's been such a hugely like inspirational American player, FGC player in general. It'd just be cool to like have him sit down, like pick his brain and like see what he thinks about Super Turbo, the game, what he thinks about the community, the history of the FGC, the future, all that kind of stuff.
Dude, it's funny you say that because he's, again, Justin Wong is referenced on every episode of Super Lore Boys. Every episode he's been referenced. That means something, dude. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, it's hard to understate like what a big impact Justin Wong has had on the FGC, along with being, in my opinion, the most talented player that America's ever produced, bar none. Any game doesn't matter.
Yeah, agreed.
It'd be cool to get more international players. Actually, I know the language barrier thing might be an issue, but it'd be cool to get guys like Zagi, EC Morn, all those kind of guys. Abdel, Bazooka. I don't know, just to see like to know more about the EU region and how they came up. Obviously, Orf, if you can ever reach him.
Yeah, actually, I mentioned in the Yoga Boy episode, I think a day or two before that, I finally got a response from him.
Oh my god!
So he's doing all right. I actually didn't get a chance to respond back because at this point I'm like, I gotta finish this before I move on to anything else. But he's definitely around. He's all right, but this is a busy guy, so life stuff.
Yeah, he's like notoriously difficult to get a hold of. So.
Yeah, so they say. So they say.
I mean, I had to connect, but I know ordinarily he's like impossible to reach. And of course, like any like Japanese player, pretty much any of the ones that everyone like knows about, it'd be cool to get them on. I know it's been like tricky to like get like Makiri to translate and have that coordinated, but it'd be really cool to have that on the stream. I think people like the Masanet episode especially, so more of that would be good.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and definitely reach out to some of the names, but yeah, like you already said, a good chunk of those I already have like lined up. I might need your help with like Watson, Valle. I might need the good old ElTrouble charm to see if they'd be interested.
Yeah, I got you.
Come through with that plug real quick. And then how about is there anything I missed or any feedback you have? And I want you to give an honest critique, being that like we're a whole season in now. And then after that question, if there's anything that you wanted to share that we didn't go over.
Critique of like the podcast, or critique about
Yeah.
No, I think you're doing a good job with it. Like even like you mentioned, like how you started commentary. I always felt like you were always a very good commentator, and that I would like to see you do it more often, just because you have a long-standing history with the scene. You pretty much know everybody there is to know. So yeah, I think you're in like a perfect position to be a commentator / Super Low Boys creator, just because like everyone knows you, everyone likes you, they feel comfortable around you. You know how to like do your research, do all that kind of stuff. Of course, Azroix, your boy, he does amazing graphical art
that dude's
for the stream.
Beast.
He is a beast. I can see why everyone's trying to poach him away and recruit him.
Boss was like, yo, how do I talk to him? Like, he's on a Discord. You can message him if you want.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, hey, what's up, Riz? Where's Azroix at? He talked to him real quick. I was like, damn, boss. At least pretend to say hi and chill. Critiques? Nothing really. I mean, it'd be cool if the episodes were shorter, just because some of them are pretty long, and like I myself am trying to get through a lot of them. I got through most of them. I'm missing like the beginning of Ballcorix and Atari's episodes, but like 3-hour long podcasts are kind of hard to get through.
I mean, I think yours is probably gonna be the longest, especially because we had a few hiccups along the way. But I don't know, just the time. Honestly, the time flies. Like we'll talk about one thing. You look at the clock and it's like, what the hell? It's been 40 minutes already. Like time just flies when you start talking about these things. But I feel you. I'll see if there's anything that we can like cut out for future episodes, or like maybe in editing, just cut it out.
Yeah, it'd be hard to like cut it down. Maybe do like multiple episodes with the same guests and just like space it out. I don't know, but
yeah,
it's a hard problem to solve. And saying that, I realize I'm probably the longest episode. I apologize.
Yeah, so you got to hold that. Of course, a Dawson player will complain about.
Hey man, I'm all about the long con here, you know. So no problem.
The long limbs con. Was there anything about like your come up in the ST scene that we didn't bring up? And then we still have community questions, and then like closing statement, so still a little bit left.
I don't know, nothing really comes up. Oh, I know. So you mentioned a while back like something like it was hard to see me playing like FPS games and playing dolls or something like that. And then actually Tanya was the first one to point out like in all the games I play, like seriously, I always like the long range option. Like
sniper.
Yeah, exactly. In like FPS games, I at least love sniping. In Super Turbo, I like playing Dalsum. Whenever I played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'm always Donatello, because you got the bow staff, you got the range. I'm like, holy shit! Like you're right. I just like killing things from a distance. I don't know what it is. I just something about that. It like blew my mind. Like holy shit! I'm like stereotyped. I was like a Dalsum player.
That's why you guys are made for each other. So shout out to Tanya.
Yeah, and it's funny because like even though I taught Tanya like the basics of like Street Fighter or whatever fighting games, it's funny how like she's developed completely different from how I am as a player. Like I'm the kind of the very safe defensive style, whereas like she's like the school of Kusumundo, just like very aggressive, very angry Honda that wants to get in your face and rush down all the time. So it's been a privilege watching her develop as a Honda player throughout the years.
Hell yeah, definitely like one of the most improved that we've had like throughout the last decade of ST basically.
Yeah, like she has certain moments where she just like completely turns up, and it's like I don't even recognize her. The first time that happened was actually ST Games when she had a what do you call it, the ratio match against Mars Gotti, and then she somehow like OCV'd him with her Blanca, not even her Honda.
Oh shit.
And like we didn't even like play that much ST at the time, but like she had just like lost her Street Fighter 4 match, and she was so pissed that like she came in there wanting to kill Mars Gotti, even though he had nothing to do with it. It was just like he was the next opponent on her list, and she was gonna murder him. So she was doing things I had like never seen her do before. So like, for example, like whenever Mars played Guile and he would do a forward hop kick, she would do block a stand jab to counter and beat it clean. And like, I have never seen that do that ever in practice or since. Just like she was like possessed with the devil that day and just like went ham.
That's that thing about, you know, in tournament anything can happen. Sometimes you just channel like that demon side of you that freaking just knows what to press. I don't know. Those things happen in tournaments, man. Maybe if they ran that set again in casuals, like her Blanca against Mars's Gal, I don't know. Maybe Mars got in the bag, but yeah, in tournament, nah, screw that. Anything can happen, and you know, players they'll just reach that next level. And Tanya, you know, she had that, so that's good shit.
No, she had the eye of the tiger that day, and like you're right, like 10 times out of 10, Mars Gotti will beat her just anywhere, but that day. Just worked out for her. Kind of the same thing that happened with her match against Kusamundo at TWL 3. Like, she just turned up that day. Yeah. She hates the Honda mirror, but like that day, she just like, I don't know, it's like watching two Hondas like play the matchup ultra aggressively and just play it wrong, but they were just doing it because that's how they play. And it just worked out for Tanya. But that was a good moment for her too.
Yeah, definitely a huge highlight.
But yeah, that's about it. I don't know what else you want to talk about.
All right, well, let's go through the community questions. I want to make sure you give them a chance. So you just read out the ones that, you know, you want to answer.
Yeah, let me pull up the Discord here. Mega Man, what's it like playing Sim? Why did you pick Sim to be your main? I think I covered that. But playing Sim, it's funny because like in the beginning it was about winning, right? Like I just wanted to win, make a name for myself, whatever. But now I realize, like, I don't know, like playing Sim is very oppressive to the point where like it's not fun for the other people. So I tend to shy away from Sim a lot, especially like if I'm playing casuals or if I'm like playing new players. Like for example, the Handsome Boys, Frank, Jeff Rocks, and Andy Ba. They're like they're kind of like new to the SoCal scene somewhat. They've played before, but like never as quote unquote the Handsome Boys. And like when they were coming up through the Wednesday Night Fight weeklies, like I would just never play Dalsum against them because I felt bad. Like I don't want to like discourage them from like getting better at the game, so I would play other characters. But now they're getting to the point where they're getting really good, and so I have to like really step up my shit and like go through like my list of side characters I can beat them. But like yeah, it's been weird playing Dalsum. I don't know. I've been kind of like jaded with him lately. I'm like heavily thinking that I'm probably gonna switch characters in the future, but we'll see how that goes. I
see that Bipson's on the rise, so
dude, Bipson is so. I feel bad. Like I should have started with Bipson from the beginning. He is so dope.
Hey, see, now everyone understands.
So
now everyone can understand. Even a Dalsum player said that Bipson is the one. Keep going. What other questions we got?
No, but I feel like I always tell people like Ryu and Dictator are like my favorite designed characters in Super Turbo. They just feel so well designed and like balanced and enjoyable. But Dictator, I feel like you really can't sandbag too much with Dictator because like you don't have a lot of like favorable matchups. So like you're always like keeping your head in the game. It just feels good doing that. Because I can tell you like winning a tournament with Dalsum feels good, but like playing Zangief and beating Honda feels better.
yeah.
Like being a low tier and winning a shit matchup is like you get the highest of highs. That's pretty much what Anthony feels like all the time, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, there's that. Canada KOF, how am I alive having a heart of glass? Bro, I don't know. I'm stressed out from that Mascherino Cup qualifier. Like, I have never had a tournament run like that where I was constantly on the losing end and then coming back to the loser's bracket. I don't know how John Choi did it back in the day, but it is what it is. What's this? A bunch of troll questions. What drove me to play Kenfinite? What drove me to play ST exclusively and focus on being the best sim? I think I covered that already. Norman, what's the longest set me and wifey have played in one sitting? Probably a first to 100. And follow-up question, we play like a first to 100 to like one for pride, but like every now and then we'll be like, oh, first to 100 has to like do the laundry or wash dishes or something like that. Something like some low cost bet, or just for fun. Favorite sim player to watch, not including myself. I like watching Yido lately, just because I feel like Yido is on like the polar opposite of the spectrum of Dalsums compared to myself. Like, I feel like I'm a pretty like textbook fundamental sim, whereas like Yido is like a super ultra aggressive, very creative, mix up heavy style of character.
Yeah, you're Choi, he's Valle.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just cool watching him play and like express the way he plays, to the point where like I'm trying to adopt more of what he does, because I feel like Yido excels in certain matchups I suck at. So like he's really good at fighting Claw, like excellent. I'm trying to adopt his strategy, but like I feel like I excel in some of the lamer matchups, like fighting a Blanca or a Honda or whatever. I feel like my strategy is superior, but it's just cool to see. James Walton has like a paragraph. Let's see here. How is the European SC community? Very positive. I can't say anything like bad about my experience with Paris and Lyon community. They're a fantastic group. Good venues, good setups, nice people. I'd say on average, actually the level of play in France is super high. Like, the average player there is higher than your average player here in America, in my opinion, as far as the average goes. So it's really cool seeing how many strong, dedicated players they have. Tips you have for someone who wants to visit them for the first time? No real tips. Just enjoy the experience. It's pretty easy to get around. If you're armed with a Wi-Fi hotspot or good phone service, it's pretty easy to like use Google Maps to get around. Use Translate if you need be. But no real tips. Just go there and have fun. If Tomo Uhura at his prime traveled to modern times and was given 3 years to prepare, how well do you think he would do against today's top players? I mean, it's kind of hard to say. Like, I don't know. I hate like judging different eras against other eras, because the environment is completely different.
It's way too hypothetical. Like, there's no comparison, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're comparing like two subjective experiences to one another. It doesn't work out. Yeah. I know recently on Twitter, FGC has been like ablaze with like old school versus new school arguments. If like the new school is better than the old school players, and like you can't compare it. It just doesn't line up like that. I answered Lion Plexes. X Gamers, as a Dalsum player, what's my max combo? Probably cross up drill into slide super. It's a pretty fun one to do.
Hits? 7, I think.
1, 2, yeah, it should be 7 hits. I'll ever count. I haven't landed it too often, but that's a pretty good one. That, or like down back medium kick super, which is really fun to go for, but I don't get it out too often. What's my hypest and stress high level matches that you made in major tournaments? Probably the Matcherino Cup thing. That was definitely the most stressed and hyped, I would say. So there's that one. Kion, have you ever competed in anything outside of fighting games? Not really. As far as like going to tournaments and stuff like that, not really.
It's Counter-Strike-ish.
Yeah, but like, I mean, Counter-Strike, I like participated in a few like open format tournaments. But for the most part, I just play casually just for fun. It's kind of hard to get like 5 dedicated players to like get together all the time and play as a team. Andy Ma, do you like me? The answer is no. You already knew that. I hate you, Andy Ma.
We all do.
I hate Claw players. I hate your humor.
He had to get NSFW banned. So.
He had to, man. I'll never forgive him for that one. It's awful. I think I answered a lot of these, to be honest. Marcade differences between NA and European communities. Like I said, average level of play is higher in France than your average level in the US. I feel like in the US we have a lot more like casual players, or players that want to support the scene, or players that are like kind of fans that just want to play in tournaments and have fun, as opposed to like hardcore dedicated professionals, soldiers in these streets, But as far as differences, I think the coolest thing is that it wasn't that different. Is that, you know, despite being in like 2 different countries, America and France, like we have significantly more similarities between our scenes and our communities than there are differences, which is pretty sick. Vince, how do you see ST in 10 years and 20? That's a hard one, man. I mean, in my heart, I always feel like ST will always have like a healthy rotation of like players experiencing the game and taking up the mantle of who's going to be the best player, who's going to be the next TO. But it's always hard to tell, you know, like the hardware is getting pretty old. You know, the game center scenes in Japan are kind of dwindling. It's kind of hard to see. I hate to be defeatist about it, but like the optimist in me wants to see like people like step up to the plate and you know, beat the old guard, but we'll see. Reno MD, who would you pick to play you in a biographical film about your life? What the fuck, Reno? So funny story, at TOL 1, Tanya and I got pretty hammered and drunk, and then like we were at the venue just sort of hanging out and chilling. And then she saw me like across the venue, and her plan was like kind of like sneak up behind me and like give me a hug and like scare the shit out of me. And then like as she did that, like she stopped and like kind of looked, and she realized like, wait, that's not Eugene. Who the fuck is that? And it ended up being John Choi. So like Tanya was like 5 steps away from committing sexual assault against John Choi back in 2012. So probably John Choi, I guess, to play me.
Man, it gotta be Johnny Depp. You can play any role.
Johnny Depp. Or Johnny Tran from Too Fast, Too Furious. Get that guy to do it. Dylan Chatterton, why is it so hard to pronounce Saget correctly? Look here, you little shit. Okay, look here. No one knew how to pronounce half these names back in the 90s, okay? Like, there was no announcer saying Ryu or whatever. So yeah, everyone had their own idea of how to say like Chun-Li or Chun-Li or Ryu, Sagat, Blanca. That was a weird one. Guile. Yeah, Guile. Like, bro, Guile is an actual word. Like, what? why are you pronouncing it Gilly and Ghoulie? And also back then, like, there was a legendary actor and thespian named Bob Saget who was played Danny Tanner in Full House. Exactly. Yeah, all that stuff. So his name was called Bob Saget. So like, all right, his name's Saget, I guess. Delatroy, what Dalsum tech is not used enough in your opinion? Not really. There's no real tech to Dalsum. Maybe reversal teleport, which like only Kawasim does, kind of gets him out of certain situations.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's probably the most.
uses it too.
Yeah, it's really hard to do reversal teleport. It's kind of like bugged out, glitched out anyways in the corner, so it's kind of hard to use. But that's probably the one that's not used enough, but probably not a deal breaker if you're trying to be a good Dalsum player. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
As far as comm questions.
All right. Well, do you have any shout-outs?
I mean, shout outs to you, dude, for holding it down on the stream end and the podcast. I definitely feel like in these sad COVID times, you've been like kind of like a shining beacon for the Super Turbo community to like kind of get together. And I mean, not just the podcast and the stream, but also the Discord. For whatever reason, everyone's joined your Discord. Dr. Pepper Boys, not mine. You hear me?
Oh, you have a Discord?
Nope. I don't want to hear it.
You own that one, though.
Bro, you can't even you can't even say it without laughing.
Hold on, let me try.
Guilty as charged.
What is your Discord?
See, you can't even get through that. So yeah, like somehow, for whatever reason, you've been like getting everyone together. You've been getting the old game back together again. You even got me out here hopping on Fight K2 and all that kind of stuff. So I think all praise goes to you for giving us a place to play Super Turbo, talk shit, hang out once again, since we can't do it at majors anymore. Shout outs to Tanya for supporting this crazy hobby of ours, and somehow playing Super Turbo in an arcade has led to us like meeting people all over the country, all over the world. going on interviews, being invited to travel to places, all that kind of stuff. Which definitely wouldn't have happened if we didn't go to some random arcade back in 2011. So, shouts to you for holding it down. I don't know. Shoutouts to pretty much everyone who's a fan of Super Turbo and who plays in tournaments, whoever watches, runs tournaments, commentates, streams, all that kind of stuff, man. Donating to the Matcherino. Of course, Arturo and the Matcherino boys recently for holding it down with the Matcherino Cup qualifiers. I think that was probably one of the better events that we've had in a long time. I'm definitely looking forward to having it run back again next year.
Yeah, since it's secured. So we're going to do it.
It's in the bag. We in there, boys. So yeah, like if you guys feel bad about missing out on this year, you have next year to join a qualifier, make a name for yourself, and prove us old heads that were washed, old veterans, and that the new blood's coming up and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's about it for me.
All right. Well, so firstly, I just want to say thank you, Eugene, for again all the work that you put in for ST. The reason why I wanted you, to close out the season is to thank you, and to let everyone hear from you, like your entire story. I think we got through a good chunk of it. But also, like, you don't talk about ST and not mention ElTrouble and Miller time. Like, I think you go to Japan and everyone's like, oh yeah, Eugene. Like they call you by name, and same thing in Europe and pretty much anywhere in the US you go. So you guys are pretty much like a part of Super Turbo. Like you're in the game, essentially. You're one of the characters. So, so I have a lot of like respect and fondness and appreciation for like what you've done for ST, and I'm hoping that the future is still bright for this game. With all the players and getting more people into the scene. So again, thanks. And this is likely going to be the longest one, the longest episode. So for those who are still listening, I appreciate you all. But before we got on this call, I did mention to Eugene, like, don't worry about the clock. Let's just take as much time as we need since this is the season finale. I just want to make sure like we get to close it out strong and really talk about like why we played the game. Other than that, I just want to shout out Dylan Chatterton, who's always handling my Twitter stuff. Azroix, obviously, for busting out the dope graphics, and then pretty much everyone that's been on the podcast. Makiri, Matsun, Damdai, Hokudo, Valcor, Katari, Yoga Boy, and once again ElTrouble. Not sure what the timeline will look like for the next season, but I did already confirm that we would have James Chen open up season 2. So if there's any questions that you'll have for James Chen when we do get to that point, like, you guys can already start dropping them. I'll take any feedback, suggestions that you guys have as far as like how we can improve it for the future. But yeah, I guess that's all I got for now. So until next time, take it easy and be safe, and peace out. I guess Happy New Year, because maybe we'll be back in 2021. Yeah, later.
Later, guys.